All righty, all righty. Here we are. Here we are. I appreciate y'all joining me on this fine Sunday evening. Gonna be going over this as quickly as I can, so I'll probably speed up the video because I plan to do a little bit of gaming afterwards. So I hope you all will come back for that. But gonna be doing it with the friends like yesterday, where we're just kind of shooting the shit, kind of dual streaming with Sen and whoever else. So hope you guys will be on the lookout for that. Make sure to have your notifications on. If you're following me on Twitter, just pay attention to that. But I wanted to go over this recent bit from the H3 podcast, a highlight, if you will, from the H3 podcast, where somebody had called in and they had made some, they had made some accusations against Fit from Fresh and Fit that, are not very, I don't know. At the very least, they're questionable, right? You can never say outright that something is false without knowing for sure that it is. I mean, maybe there's some truth to the person's story, but a lot of I have questions. I do have some questions about it. I hadn't heard the entire thing, so we'll get through, like I said, as much of it as we can. So I hope you guys and gals will stick around for that. But before anything, I have to do this because my good buddy Gigi Evans sent me some videos that I wanted to go over here on stream. So we're going to go over these first. Yes, these are videos that Gigi Evans sent me. I'll go ahead and link them also in the chat here for those of you that want to go ahead and check them out for yourselves. But Gigi Evans had sent these to me yesterday, so I'm going to be looking at them for the first time here. And then we'll get into today's subject matter. So I don't know what this is, but it's the title of the video is a measured response to tips during the commentary community. So let's see what Gigi sent me here. Okay. All right. Uh-oh. Oh. Okay, yeah, I think I remember this. All right.
I'm a pedophile. Okay.
Oh, no. Dang. Gigi going in. Okay. Okay, so he put the definition here. Okay. All right. All right. Good job by Gigi here providing the info. Okay, yeah, this is the one that people always seem to go with, right? This last one.
Like, you go on his Twitter likes, and there are hundreds of likes of little fucking anime girls that look like they're actually 6 years old, girls with cat ears, sexually, like, weird as fuck girls that have, like, just barely covering their ass, and, like, very sexualized shit, and it's all weird anime shit. Whenever you translate it, because it's all in Japanese, whenever you translate some of this shit, it says shit like, oh, this is so cute, heart emoji, or stuff like that. And on Valentine's Day, Larix was just, he was liking all these tweets of anime girls with, like, Valentine's Day hearts. Like, it's so fucking weird. Wow.
Oh no! Damn, Gigi. That is a very Gigi Evans response. Wow. Dang, I'm reminded from that clip from the from the Boondocks. Damn, Gigi, you didn't have to kill him, Gigi. Damn. All right, let's see. He sent me another one. And this is the second part to that. After this video, we'll get into the main subject matter. Thank you all for joining, the people that are joining the stream right now. After this next video here, we'll get into the subject matter of today. So just bear with me. Famish Journal Productions. On All Might Lollies. Okay, yeah, we do read this. Yeah. It's about the same length, I think.
I'm a pedophile.
Okay.
The male G-spot is in the ass. Well, I guess I'll never, ever, ever,
Wait, what?
ever experience G-spot stimulation because I don't fucks with pegging or having fingers in my ass or any of that shit. I don't fucks with that shit. Stay away from my butthole.
Oh no. Gigi. Wow. Oh, Gigi. Gigi, why you gotta do him like this? Dang. Oh shit.
He fell for a fake tipster tag. You fucking loser. Suck my dick and get the fuck out.
Oh my god.
Mrs. Tipster don't fucks with my butthole. I don't want any other woman fucking with my butthole. No, just stay away from my butthole.
Oh,
Right?
what is this?
We
What's up,
don't
Joseph?
fucks with that shit.
How you doing, man? Oh my goodness, Gigi. That's wild. Thank you for those videos, Gigi. What's up, Chosen? Chosen, you're muted, buddy. All right, we'll get into the main topic of the day here. For Chosen to figure out his mic situation there, but Gigi, that those were fun. Oh, okay, here we go. There you are.
My bad. Sorry about that.
You're good, man. You're good. You're good. Yeah, I was like,
Yeah.
ah,
I was like, hey,
muted.
this is up, and I just leave. Bye.
Yeah, I haven't started on the main subject matter of the day, but I remember you mentioned the other day, so I thought this might be something that would interest you. So that's why I'm going over it.
Oh, okay. Well, yeah, that was a thing. Yeah, it was perfect timing. I didn't even anticipate like any of the stuff to happen, like as I released my video or whatever.
Yeah.
It was pretty funny.
Yeah, so I think I'll give a disclaimer. At least I can speak for myself. Not a fan of Fresh and Fit. I think that they're cringe.
Oh yeah, for sure.
The stuff that they, the kind of content they put out, not my flavor. I don't think it's good advice personally that they try to give, young impressionable men. But hey, to each their own. Hey, look, they made. They're getting their bag. How they're getting their bag. That's on them. But they're kind of they've been in situations already where I think they've been rightfully criticized and clowned on. So, but this is not one of those situations. This is not one of those situations where I think it's really fair to try to come at them with something like this. At least from what I saw. So we're gonna go over this video. Obviously, I'll be pausing it from time to time, giving some. Let me know if there's any point in time chosen where you want to interject on something that Ethan is saying or this girl is saying in this call.
Oh yeah, for sure.
And I'll pause the video. So,
Hello. How are you?
I'm good, and you?
Very good. Thanks for calling.
Yes, of course. I've been a big fan for a while, so it was convenient that I went on Fresh and Fit. So,
Thank you so much. So basically, you appeared at the beginning of the year. Now, how did you end up on the show?
So basically what had happened was I had she's my best friend, one of my best friends. She lived out where I live in right now. I live in New Jersey. So she moved out to Miami around like November, September of last year. And when she moved out to Miami, she was like she had her own apartment, so she was looking for something to financially like support her. So she went on this site where it was like a dating type of site, and it was for financially
Sugar
like,
daddy.
relationships. Yeah.
All right.
And so she met Fresh on that site.
Dude, that's
And
awesome.
yeah, I'm pretty sure they previously had gotten exposed for that. Like I think a year ago, how they had like a whole dating show, but they were found on this app, so it's kind of contradicting. But she had hung out with him.
Yeah, I mean, I know about that. Them being on like these dating sites and stuff or whatever.
Yeah, the sugar daddy websites. Yeah, that was.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
So that's old news.
A few times, but it was mostly like they were more friends than anything. So she got pretty close with him, and she ended up flying me out to Miami to visit her for about like a few days, and that's when I had met Fresh myself. So I'm not gonna lie, like he is a very nice person.
Fresh seems very nice. I mean, he just he's just kind of there, right? I mean, he's not a very sharp guy, and God bless him for that, right?
Yeah, and we also found out that he actually owns the podcast. It's not Myron. Myron's Fit, by the way.
Well, I mean, it is the Fresh and Fit podcast. I mean,
makes perfect sense. I mean,
he's the A side of the podcast. I mean, and look, it doesn't surprise me, God bless him, right? It doesn't surprise me the Fresh is the nice one. I mean, I know
Myron's an
look,
asshole.
I'm not gonna go there with it because obviously it's against terms of service. But if people have seen pictures of Fresh, I can understand why he has a good personality. I'm just saying. I can understand why he would have the better personality of the two.
I mean, I would have drinks with Fresh. I mean, he seems like a pretty chill guy. It's just he's kind of like he's just a special kind of guy.
Yeah. Look, it just let's just say it like this, right? At least from what I've seen, Fresh seems to be the more. At least the way he portrays himself online seems to be a little bit the little I've seen, because I'm not going to sit here and pretend like I'm an expert on Fresh and Fit. I'm not an expert on them, but from the little I've seen, at least outside of their podcast, he's at least the way he comes across is a little bit more grounded. Would that be fair to say, Chosen?
I would say he's more of a passive kind of guy. Like he only reacts when Myron reacts. And Myron's the one that's kind of like the one that he's like the center of like all the hate, and Myron's just along for the ride. He just gets smoked because of Myron.
Yeah, I mean he definitely is the one, at least from what I've seen when they've been on other podcasts and other interviews. He's the one that always seems to have the most memeable moments, I guess you could say. Like he's the one that ends up he's always the one that gets caught with his foot in his mouth. Yes.
Did you ever see that clip of him talking about how girls shouldn't have an Instagram? Did you hear about that one?
I didn't see that one, but I do remember when the one Instagram model, I forget her name, was like just like destroying him. On I forget whose podcast they were on. They went on what's this guy's name? DJ, what's his name?
Oh, DJ Academics.
DJ Academics. Yeah, when they went on his I think they went on his podcast, and it was the one girl, the Instagram model that ended up having a kid with the one college ball player that ended up, I think, getting drafted to the NBA. Was he drafted to the NBA? I forget.
That I don't know.
I can't remember.
I completely forgot.
But yeah, I believe he did. But the guy was like younger and stuff, and things didn't work out there and whatever. I mean, but I remember she was like, dragging them. And the one she was really kind of mostly going back and forth with the most was Myron, Fit. So he always seems to be the one that gets he seems to be the one that's the more confrontational of the two, and is always willing to die on whatever hill it is that, and always ends up looking bad in most instances. So,
I mean, because in the case with the sugar daddy website, like that's really the only thing that people like really criticize Fresh for.
Yeah,
like I mean that's a giving, because he was kind of hypocritical, saying that he found this girl from like Alabama or some backwater state, and that she wasn't like an appropriate word to describe a female that doesn't usually do the right things online to make money? I mean, there's nothing wrong with like
well, sugar. I
making
guess
money that way, but like
she's
she just
a
kind of
sugar
uses her
baby.
body.
She's kind
Yeah,
of a sugar baby, kind of a
yeah,
sugar baby gold digger. I mean, you can take your pick. You know, what I mean,
yeah. So I mean, she
social
took.
climber.
Yeah, she from what I understood and when I looked into it and what a lot of people saw, she had a history of, having donations from other men where she would, go shopping or
Yeah,
have her
yeah, I remember
expenses
that.
taken care of because of that. And then, that's how she met Fresh. And, he took her on this yacht or whatever. We all know the story. She got mega exposed because of it.
Yeah,
Um,
she's a
it turned it.
sugar baby. Yeah, she's
Yeah.
basically a sugar baby. She's a gold digger. So
Yeah, so that turned into a huge thing. But I mean,
I
with
remember that.
Myron, he's the instigator. Like he's the
Yeah,
one
for sure.
that seems to,
He's
you
definitely
know,
the more confrontational of the two, from what I've seen. And the thing
yeah,
is, he has a lot of insert foot and mouth moments. Like I remember when he went on Tim Pool's and was trying to justify like false flagging, and Tim Pool's like, "No, you can't. Like you can't do that." It's just like
oh yeah.
that's
You're
like
talking about the
yeah, the
copyright?
copyright striking stuff, and Tim Pool was like, that's not how fair use like works. You can't do stuff like that. Like you guys can't be filing false DMCA claims like that. That's not how any of that works. And they were just like, or it was Myron. It was Myron, the one that was like trying to justify it, and he's like, no, you still can't. Like Tim Pool is like, you still can't do that. That's like you're abusing DMCA. So Sen, get in here if you're gonna get in here. But here, let's continue on with this.
Okay, so we actually maybe you can shed light on some questions we had because we noticed that Fresh had a lot more followers, and he seems to be wealthy. And I was wondering how did he get? What's his background?
So basically, what had also, by the way, like I spoke to Sam before I came on, but the reason why I called in was because I saw your videos for a while and you guys were asking questions that like I knew the answers to, and I was like, I have to call you guys in. But basically he's the one that recruits, like him and his team recruit the girls, but it's mostly like Walter that goes to like these events at clubs. So he goes to the clubs and he's the one that goes out there to like, I guess, like advertise them and stuff. I don't know exactly I don't know, but he's the one that goes out. Myron just like stays behind at home and doesn't really do anything. So like Walter, yeah.
That's so Fresh is actually the brains behind the operation. He's the secret mastermind. He's the genius. He's running the operation. Picking coconuts in Barbados. I mean, coconuts in Barbados, man. It's Wednesday, my dudes.
Yeah. He goes out, and the craziest part too is that
well, that's something I could believe. There's always going to be a guy there's always going to be a guy that's going to be more of the business oriented, has the better business acumen, and the other guy is like sometimes it breaks down to one guy ends up being more of the face and one guy ends up being more of the kind of brains of the operation. So maybe that's what it is, even though they're both kind of the face, because I mean it's the Fresh and Fit podcast, but but for sure Fit is the one that kind of stands out a little bit more, only because like I said, anytime that there's been controversies where they've been like interviewed by other people, it's usually because of shit that he says more than
Fresh. Well, Fresh isn't necessarily like, I wouldn't say he's not outspoken, but in comparison to Fit, he just doesn't have that
he's not
same.
Impulsive.
Yeah, he's not as impulsive or as
he's just more restrained.
He's more reserved. I would say much more reserved. Like I wouldn't say he's more methodical, but he just doesn't say incredibly stupid things like Fit does.
Yeah, he's got more tact. I think that would be fair to say. I think he's got more tact than Fit does, for sure.
Yeah, for sure.
Where Fit he wears more of his emotion on his sleeve, it seems.
Oh yeah, definitely. Like his mouth is the reason why him and Evan and Preach got into it.
Yes,
like that turned into a huge thing for a while.
Yeah, that was hilarious. Yep,
it was definitely.
Dude, Abba and Preach had to like defend them when this like came out. This like, I can't believe we have to do this. Like we have to defend Fresh and Fit. Something I never thought we'd have to do.
Dude, it reminds me so much of when Tipster got doxxed and I decided to make a video defending him because I knew like it's one of those things like you don't want to add to the dog pile.
No,
like sure. it's you just don't want to be the cause or add on to it or be like, oh yeah, he deserved it. which no one deserves to be
Nah.
accused, like how Fresh has been, and no one deserves to be doxxed.
That's
So
what I
it's like
mean.
one of those situations where you have to, you know, suck up your pride and be like, yeah, this isn't right, and
Yeah, I agree
stand
with
up
that.
for it. Yeah, you got to stand up for it.
Yeah, I think Fresh and Fit do a lot to deserve getting criticized and deserve people poking fun at them, but don't try to push, a false narrative about them. Either one
Of
of them.
course,
You know what I'm saying?
it doesn't make you any better, because I
It
mean
really
that's what
doesn't.
they did, because they'll lie and manipulate the
Yeah.
situation, and you trying to do that for personal gain isn't right.
No, it's not. It's not. So you'll be happy.
He went out to clubs and my friend had tagged along with him a few times because he invited her out with him. But he doesn't drink, neither does Myron. But they go out to these clubs to like, I guess, like speak to people, and like they don't drink like a sip of liquor, like they refuse to.
That's so fucked up. Well, you know why? They're trying to find drunk girls to take advantage
Yeah,
of.
of course.
No. That's bullshit.
Oh,
That's bullshit. He's making an assertion there that's absolute. Floyd Mayweather doesn't drink either. People don't seem to know that. Like Floyd Mayweather will go to the clubs just to chill, especially if he's in fight camp. He does that a lot. Like he's a social guy. So despite how people feel about Floyd Mayweather, right? Because I'm not a fan of Floyd Mayweather, the person, you know what I'm saying? But the thing is, he's a very disciplined guy. And a lot of guys that you'd be like, people don't understand. There's a lot of people that go to the club. Okay. I've known people like that too, that are in good shape, especially if they're people that like to work out a lot, that just go because some of them are there to pick up women, but a lot of times they like to go to chill. They like to go just to chill. They like the atmosphere of the club. You know what I mean?
right.
So you can't make that, that's a bold assertion to make. I mean, look, there
I
could
don't
be
like
some
the
truth
way
to
you
it.
did that.
Yeah.
I mean, it could be like, it's the thing. We don't know. It's like he said, she said, but going off of the patterns of what we know about these guys, this seems very left field. And if that was the case, wouldn't there be more talks about this? Like, why now?
Yeah.
Like, from what I understand, this particular female was on Fresh and Fit's podcast at some point before this.
Exactly. And that's the other thing too. It's just like, you're making a pretty bold assertion there about them. And look, because it's Fresh and Fit, there could be some truth to it, right? But that's not that unusual of a thing. It really isn't. You know what I mean? There's been a lot of people that I've known, like I said, at least personally, that have gone to the club, they're not drinkers. You know what I mean? Yes, sometimes they're there for what you think they're there for, but sometimes not. They just like to chill, and they go and meet up with friends and stuff like that. So it's quite a bold claim for Ethan Klein.
Holy shit, that's so creepy.
Yeah, but when I had flown out to Miami, my first day there, I slept the whole day. But my second day, me and her had gone out to like a little hotel pool party, and after that, we went. He invited us back to his apartment to have like just to hang out with him and stuff. Because I had talked to him over the phone a few times, but when we went to his apartment, we spoke to him. I met his dog and stuff. He was very cool, down to earth. And then my friend had asked like if we could be on the podcast, and he was like, "Okay, like you guys can come on." So we went on like 2 days later, and then that's when I had my whole experience, like before, during, and after on the podcast.
So what I'm hearing so far is Fresh is the brains. He's actually a sweet guy, which I believe. I think the whole funny thing that you're touching on is how they complain about women being gold diggers, but they're finding women to date on on sugar daddy websites. It makes no sense.
Yeah. And like the more I get into this stuff, like I kind of had like my own debate with Myron off camera. Like it's just like they're very. I could say Fit is a very insecure man from my experience with him. But like it's a very hypocritical podcast. I mean, it's already known, but like it's disgusting. I don't know. I just can't stand them.
All right, so tell me about the day, because I know you had some interesting run-ins with Myron, aka Fit. So tell me about the day of the podcast leading up to it. Let's start there.
So the day of the podcast, they have the podcast in like this apartment building. So when we got there, they basically told us the floor to go up to. So when we got up there, you walk in and right away, like they tell you to stay quiet, like stay silent, you can't speak. And they had like
the show live?
Oh no!
Look at film.
Gotta skip the ad. Hold on.
That just scared the absolute crap out of me.
Yeah, it was live. They were telling us to stay quiet, and then that's when they had us fill out like the consent form, like to be on camera. And they told us to take off our shoes. They said that there's no shoes and no vaping, because they said that if you vape, they think the fire alarm is going to go off. And then that's
not true.
After that.
Yeah.
Yeah. And after that, they finished the segment, and that's when Walter came over to me and my friend, and then all the girls started coming in. And they had like this, I believe he was the sound tech guy, because he kept telling us to speak into the mic, but he told us the rules. So he came up to us and he told us, listen, like when you go on, you have to speak into the mic. You can't interrupt Myron. They said that you can disagree with him until the sun comes up, as long as you wait for your turn and you let him speak. That's what they said. And they said that no shoes, of course, and you can't look at yourself in the monitor, like, or the chat. And then there was they also took our phones before we went live. Like they took all of our phones in a basket, so we couldn't use our phones.
This guy really
And
thinks
then-
the dude thinks he's like Dave Chappelle or something. Like the way they have that
Yeah.
locked down and stuff is pretty incredible for a small time podcast.
That must be a
Yeah,
new
and-
thing, then.
I mean, look, here's the thing, right? I could understand because of the fact that they, it's not just a recorded, an audio recorded podcast. They want, to me, I actually don't see that as a problem. Them taking people's phones and being like, hey, we run a professional podcast here. We want to have your attention at all times. So in case we need to address something. So, because I know that they use more than one camera, right? For their podcast, so they could go to different, cut to different angles. So, I mean, yeah, if they're sitting there talking and one of their guests is just, got the phone to their face, you know what I mean? It's going to look like they're bored being there, right? It's more of, I think in them doing that is them trying to have a professional atmosphere, or at least, put on what they probably feel is, hey, we do a professional thing here. You know what I'm saying? We want it to look this way. And so it's like, we don't want you to be distracted on the phone because we got these multiple cameras. I think that may be why.
I think that's why too. But it's just when I've seen instances where they would have their phone in their hand. So that seems to be this seems to be a relatively new thing. Yeah.
Yeah. It could be a new rule, yeah.
Yeah.
But
so they finished the segment, and then that was the time that we all like mingled with the girls to get to know each other and stuff. And then there was this other guy that worked for him. I just know that he's the one that does the streaming before the live to show people like what's going on behind the scenes and stuff. And he's mostly like the advertiser, like on social media. He controls, I believe that's what he does. But he came up to me and my friend, and he offered us alcohol. He said, like, do you guys want to drink? And I was like, no, thank you, because I've drank in high school and stuff like that. But I knew I was going on a podcast, so I knew I wanted to be coherent when I was like online.
So this is before you go on. You're 19 years old, and they're offering you alcohol. That's classy.
Yeah, and then so they offered me a White Claw, so I was like, no, thank you. They were like,
Keep pausing real quick.
Yeah.
I do have a problem with people offering alcohol to people who are underage.
For sure.
The only problem I have with what she just said, because it's gonna come up later. She was at the club with Fresh and Fit, and supposedly she was drinking there. So it stands to reason, when she's saying it, like, what she's trying to set up when she says that, like,
of course,
the whole he offered me alcohol bit, that kind of irritated me. I heard that, I said, oh, you sneaky, you're sneaky, but you ain't slick. You were drinking hours before that point, and we'll get to that point where she'll talk about the mouthwash or whatever.
Yeah.
But clearly he could smell alcohol on her before that whole situation.
Yeah.
So it's even though, yes, I agree that he shouldn't have continued to give her alcohol. She's also responsible for her own self. She's an adult. She should know that she shouldn't be legally drinking at her age.
Exactly. Yep.
So the whole thing of he was offering her alcohol. Yeah, that's not right, but you need to take some accountability for your own actions as well.
Agreed. Let's continue here.
Over there and pretended like, oh yeah, I have a White Claw.
Pressure you, in fact, to take an alcoholic beverage. We love that.
And then after that, the one guy, he came out with like a tequila bottle. I don't know where he got this bottle from, but he was like, oh, who wants to take a shot with me? And the two other girls were like, no, thank you. And then he looked over at me and my friend, and he was like, come on, guys, come on, take a shot with me. Don't make me do this by myself. And so my friend was like, you know what, whatever, I'll just do it. So he could stop asking, basically. And she took the shot with him. And then from there on, like, they just did all the advertising and like taking pictures of us for the thumbnail. And Myron came out, and actually, like, he's pretty tall. I told Sam this, like, when I was like telling her the notes and stuff. He's a very tall person in person. But he came out, and I was like not expecting him to look the way he did. And Walter came up to me and he said to me, do you want to go on a double date with me and Myron? And I said, with who? And he said, your friend. So they wanted to go on a double date with my friend, me, and Fresh and Fit. And they said that they wanted to vlog it. And then I obviously denied. Yeah,
Break Invasion vibes. Remember you used to do that? So again, you're 19, he's 35, and he's trying to take you out on a date.
So yeah, Walter was the one that approached me on it. Mind you, I didn't say a word to Myron, so I never like knew who, like, I didn't know him in person. I knew him from like social media, but like he never spoke to me the whole time until we got on the podcast. So Walter came up to me like with this proposition of, we're gonna go on a vlog, and ooh, like it's gonna be a big deal. And I simply was like, no, like I'll pass on it, simply because I don't want to be associated with them, like at all. Like,
smart.
So
but,
I was like, okay, I'll think about it. And then after that,
okay, she doesn't want to be associated with them at all, but she appears on their podcast.
And she went out on a date with him, and
Yeah.
eventually went to the apartment.
Doesn't want to be associated, but you know what? I'll be on. You know, I'll be on the podcast. Sure. You know. Okay.
She comes off very attention seeking.
Yeah.
Very attention seeking, and I've seen instances like this before. Like it happens like all the time on social media, especially Twitter, where these females will come out and they'll have a story. People immediately believe it because of course it's a female, right? We should believe all women, that whole narrative, and then it turns out that all that person was doing was just seeking attention and validation when the other side comes out.
Yeah. So here's the interesting thing, right? Because I know how they kind of lay out their podcast where they have the girls surrounding them and stuff like that. So you don't want to be associated with them, but you're okay with looking like one of the, just one of the girls that just sits there and just nods, or, what I mean? Just kind of like is there, as decoration for their podcast. So I'm already having like,
I mean, they choose them specifically to be objects.
Yes.
I mean, I don't want to sound like that, but
I mean, let's
it's the truth. It's the truth.
Exactly. Let's call a spade a spade. When they have women on their show, it's really to be props for them.
Which I mean, we can call misogyny all day, but if you decide to go and appear on the podcast, you really can't complain.
Yeah, you can't. I mean, what kind of expectations do you have? I mean, and the thing is, you're saying you don't want to be associated, but again, yeah, but you were okay with appearing as a prop for them on their show. So I'm already having like issues with her story here, right?
Mm-hmm.
But in fairness to the girl, right? I mean, it's a lot different, right? Just sitting there and being recorded and then going out with them on a date. So
Myron came over and he said, "Can you guys believe Ethan Klein just did a video about us?" Da, 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 da. And then that's when I was smiling because I was like, I'm a fan. So I was just saying,
I'm gonna end up on his show talking about this.
Yeah.
But was he excited or was he like pissed about it?
No. Well, he was like laughing, but the thing with him is like, I don't have my PhD or anything, but I think he's very easy to read, that he laughs over his insecurities. Like it's so obvious how like, oh yeah, I'm not mad about this, but he clearly is.
Right.
And,
I see.
Armchair psychology. There we go.
He like tries to make it. He does it several times when women debate him. He just laughs over it, but he makes himself look 10 times more stupid. But he did it like that. He was like, "Oh my God, can you believe Ethan? What a guy. He's talking about me. Blah 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 blah." And I was smiling like on the couch, and I was next to Walter, and I look over at Walter, and I said, "So you guys gonna go on the podcast?" And he was like, "We're gonna think about it." And then that's when I said to Walter, and I said to Walter, "Well, I actually watched the H3 podcast." So, and he was like, "Yeah, that guy. Yeah, I don't know." They were just very like, they just switched the subject right away. So
by the way, I just want to note how creepy.
Oh no, not another one. All right. Skip this. Okay. There we go.
It is that they're trying to get you group of girls alcoholed up when the two of them don't drink. I mean, that is so messed up. Not just from like, first of all, they're trying to make you guys look dumb on the show and then look smart.
Exactly.
And then he's also trying to take you out on a date. I mean, the whole thing is just weird and inappropriate.
And vlog it, I guess. I don't even know why.
And what?
And vlog it, I guess.
Oh yeah, and vlog it because they got to prove that we're fucking. Yo, we get chicks, bro.
Make sure you guys subscribe.
Yeah.
But so after that, like they started talking about you and the H3 podcast. They're like, "Oh yeah, we're gonna talk about it today." So they added it to their segment at the end of the show, and that's when I went on the show. They started, and like the whole time I felt like I was sweating because like the monitor is huge, like right next to you. So like I'm trying not to look into this camera. And they start the show. It was very painful to sit through the whole thing because like I knew the whole reason why I wanted to be on the show was because I didn't know who they were until the day before when I did my research, and I was like, I would love to go on this podcast and like make them look stupid in some type of way. And so so
it was all part of a master plan, Chosen.
Well,
it was all part of a master plan.
I guess we got a motive.
Yep.
Motive identified.
Yep.
And they did like these questions like, is it okay for a guy to have a side girl? And I was like, no. And then they said the same thing for a girl. Like, can a girl have a side guy? And I said, no, like I think it's equal when you're in a relationship. Like there's respect.
Fascinating conversation, by the way.
Yeah,
is it
great
okay
discussion.
to cheat on your partner? Go ahead, yes or no?
No, it was a great discussion, like the title. But
right.
So they said something at the beginning where like they call it a plant, where they know that I think they picked up on it. Now some girls go on the show to like pretend that they're interested to like debate them. So over some time, I think Myron picked me out of the crowd and he was like, he made a joke about The Sims. He said that, I think you play The Sims because you want to make it like an all girl world, like basically calling me a feminist. And
the worst insult, of course, to levy against a woman.
Yeah. And I just laughed and I was like, yeah, okay. And then when I had said the whole thing about a girl having a side guy and a guy having a side girl, I said, I think that both a man and a woman should be equal in a relationship where you guys need to respect each other. And he basically said, so you think men and women are the same? And I said, no, I don't
That's
think men
so
and women
funny.
are the same.
Dude, the dude is like, he has one trick.
Mhm.
He literally just tries to drive every conversation to how men and women are fundamentally different. And anyone that tells you that's crazy, like I see where he's trying to lead the conversation in a way where he's comfortable talking about it.
And he was like, I'm going to take a note of that. We're going to come back to this discussion. And I was like, I don't think men and women are the same, but when it comes to a relationship, it's like you're basically one person at the end of the day. So they're the same. And he was like, I disagree. And the whole, like, after that, like the rest of the podcast, like he would find any time that he could to like soundbite me or like play the soundboard or like do something. And then after that, like I was like over it by the end of the show. But at the end of the podcast, they were reading the super chat. And of course, all of his fans were coming at me the whole time. And they were saying like, oh, she doesn't like biological reality, meaning like, like I don't like the fact that men can cheat and women can't.
Yeah,
and
that's a biological
pause for a
reality.
second.
Apparently on the
Okay, so now I think I know what's going on. So she goes on the show. Myron does his thing. She feels slightly embarrassed because she doesn't feel like she's being heard, which obvious, it's his show.
She did her research, Chosen. She did her research into them before.
Well, I mean, she should
had
have
to know what she
seen.
was getting into.
She should have known, and she thought that she could challenge him, but yeah, unfortunate. But I think where everything eventually goes, like she took this to an extreme that, quite frankly, isn't something I haven't seen before. There's been so many stories of women in embarrassment taking things to the extreme and trying to create a situation where men's lives get ruined.
Yeah.
So this is nothing new.
Here's the other thing too. It's just like, what makes you think, right, that you're gonna go onto their show where they have control over what gets out, right, and try to embarrass them? You think that they're not going to be prepared for something like that? I mean, because look, they've done a lot of dumb shit. Obviously, Myron has done a lot of dumb shit. You know what I mean? But a lot of that stuff has happened really. I mean, there's been a few moments, I guess, on their own show, but few and far between, right? But by and large, a lot of the stuff that's really gotten people to clown on them has happened really when they've been on other people's shows where they don't have control over the
narrative
of the narrative and the environment that they're in. So it's like, what did you think was going to happen going on to the show?
She thought she was going to roll up and own them. That's why you don't show up on other people's stuff. You go either on a neutral platform and challenge them, or you go on your own.
Yeah, exactly.
In the Fresh and Fit universe, it's just understood by the men, of course. The women, they still haven't got that memo. Yeah. We're working on that, boys. Yeah.
Yeah, and then I basically just like, that's my time. Like I took it as my time to shine because it was like final thoughts, and they were like, "Oh, do you have a rebuttal against that?" And I basically said, "It's not that I don't like this biological reality. It's the fact that I don't like that your podcast sits here and likes to normalize this thing." And he was like, "Oh, you think we normalize these things?" And I said, "Yeah, I think you like to sit here and say that men can cheat and women need to get over it." And he went quiet and he said, "Well, I think women can cheat." And I said, "At the end of the day, no one should be sitting here talking about cheating and how it's okay and how I have to deal with it if a man has a Rolls Royce or this and that, because at the end of the day, no one gives a crap about that. Like I don't care what you have. All I care about is respect." And then they and I also had said to him too, like, why do you want to feed into this stereotype that women want money, but you sit here like and feed into it? Like, it just doesn't make any sense to me. But
well, the double standard to me that's always funny is like, they want a young, beautiful, perfect-bodied woman, right? That's all they care about. They want a dumb and young. And so, if a woman wants you for your money, what's the fucking difference?
All right, got to skip this one too. Damn, there's a lot of ads. Ethan Klein. But then again,
of course,
he needs them lots of
sponsorships.
Yeah, lots of sponsorships. So yeah, he's got to
for all that.
Got to make his bag.
But he said leftist
agenda.
Yeah, he's got to make his bag, you know.
During the podcast,
hey, look, I ain't got no problem with it.
What happened?
I was just saying I ain't got no problem with it. You know,
no.
You gotta get your money, man.
Yeah, I mean, I understand, especially like I said, losing the sponsorships and stuff like that. So he's got to do what he's got to do.
Yeah, man.
I'm dumb and young. And so, if a woman wants you for your money, what's the fucking difference between the two?
Yeah, no, it's. But he said something along that line during the podcast where, well, those are my standards, and like he basically says the same thing that he did for the Australian people, where he said, "Open on mine, closed on yours." Like that's his whole mindset, and it's just embarrassing. But it was just funny to see like my experience with him afterwards, which was after the show ended, they gave us a ride home. So we had gotten into the car, and they closed off the podcast talking about you. They said, "Oh, well, this guy just challenged us," and also, by the way, they subscribe to you. They're subscribed to the H3 podcast.
Of course they are, and by the way, that invite is still open, which they're too cowardly to accept. It's pathetic at this point.
Well, after they said like, "Oh yeah, we're gonna take on the challenge," when they said it on live, we had gotten into the car afterwards, and it was me, my friend, Fresh and Fit, and then another girl from the show. And as we were driving back to my friend's apartment, they started talking. I basically brought it up, and I was like, "So you guys are gonna debate Ethan?" And they said, "Nah, we're not gonna do it. Like he's just gonna make fun of us the whole time." And I was like, I don't think he would do that. But
Me?
like,
I would never do that.
Yeah.
Full of
And
No,
shit.
but I actually
was like-
I am genuinely interested in having discussing these issues with them. Not that I think it's like I don't think you can really get anywhere with them. But there you go. You see, their whole plan from the beginning was to dodge us.
Yeah, they were basically saying all of that, and then
Sure.
we got back to the apartment, and I left my wallet, and I guess it was a gift from God, but I left my wallet in Myron's car because he was the one driving, and my friend's keys were in my wallet, so we had to get the wallet back because we couldn't get back into the apartment. Mind you, it's like 5 a.m. in Miami, and we start calling Walter. He's not answering. It's like a whole game of cat and mouse. And Myron gets the wallet, and Walter was like, "Oh, he wants your friend's number if he's gonna bring back the wallet," meaning me. So I was like, sure. Like I need my wallet. Like I'm not gonna text this guy anyways. So
Okay.
he gets my number and he brings back the wallet, and I had basically texted him saying like, "Don't steal my wallet," like before he put it back. And then he started talking about how I look like Tim Pool, and I was like, "What?"
Sorry.
Was he? Is that his way of coming on to you?
I guess I thought I don't know. It was just, he sent me.
I tell that to
Tim
Ela
Pool and said-
sometimes when I want to be really nice when she looks really good. Hey, you look like Tim
Yeah.
Pool.
He's got such.
Can I see a picture of you,
Crazy
or do you not want me to draw attention to it?
Actually, I mean, if I can turn on the camera. I just don't want to show my face on the stream.
Well, I want to rate you on a scale of Tim Pool
I think I'm pretty Tim Pool.
to regular.
You know what the problem is though? It's
I
definitely
think I sent I think I sent a few pictures to Sam.
All right, let's pull it up. So go continue on with his
Wait a minute.
attempting to courting you while I
Yeah.
pull up this. Yeah.
So yeah, so he said I looked like Tim Pool, and then I guess that was his way of flirting. I don't know. And then he tried to maintain a conversation with me like through text, and I was like not answering him because I had gotten my wallet back, and I only had about like 3 more days I had left in my trip, and me and my friend were saying like,
Okay.
you know, it would be fun to sit here and like make him look dumb. Like he sits here and he thinks that he can get all these women, but then a 19-year-old like doesn't like, you know, like rejects him. So basically he kept like texting me every day. Like when I wouldn't respond, he would just say hello, like called me. I never answered. And then
Little
eventually
needy,
I was
little
like,
desperate.
and I was like, you know, if I'm going to hang out with him, like I'm okay to hang out with him to like, because you know, like you can't interrupt him on the podcast, but I can interrupt you at dinner. So I basically said, you know what, yeah, if we're going to hang out, I want to eat dinner or go to lunch, simple. And he said, well, you can come to my place and see if you can handle me. And
Wow.
I was like, no, he said if you can handle this, and I said,
Wait, hold
yeah.
on, I have a picture of you. Hold on.
Okay.
I don't know. I hate to break it to you, but
Yeah, I'm pretty Tim Pool.
that is a spitting image of. I don't know if you can
Tim
see it. It's
Pool.
literally a picture of Tim Pool. I'm not making fun of the way you look.
No,
still
I'm
haven't
trying
seen
to. I was supposed to stay anonymous. Why'd you guys show a picture of me?
it. Yeah, sorry. Well, if you want to be anonymous, we don't have to pull it up. No big
no,
deal.
no, I'm kidding. Yeah, it's just because like I'd rather not like get wrapped into their BS, because you know if you take one of their brooms and beat them up with it, you know, it's a big deal. But I don't know if you remember him saying that. If you go to his broom shop,
What?
Oh yeah, something about beating up each other with a broom or some
Oh,
shit.
Right. Yeah.
Yeah.
That was,
I think the broom is interesting. I think he's tapping into some trauma.
hmm.
Did you
Yeah,
find a
no,
picture, Sam?
That's Ethan Klein.
This is very, very strange.
and basically he throughout the.
By the way, sorry, I gotta cut you off.
It's okay.
This person just said she's definitely trolling y'all. I should have said this at the top. We've confirmed that she's been on the show. She was there. This is all. This is a real person who's been on the show. We confirmed it. So I should have said that at the top. But all right, let me see. I got a picture. Oh my god, dude! What the hell? Should I show it or no? Oh, don't show it.
Yeah. Don't.
Oh, I thought I was supposed to show it.
No.
Oh, don't show it.
You could describe it. I mean,
All right, she's wearing a beanie. She appears to be bald.
yeah, it's me.
No, she's a young, beautiful girl that looks nothing like Tim Pool.
I don't see any resemblance whatsoever. So.
Well,
but
of
that's
course,
interesting. That's interesting.
I can pause it for a second. I mean, of course, like this bit is so stupid, but of course she doesn't look like Tim. You think he's gonna invite a Tim Pool looking at?
Of course.
He's not gonna do that. Like obviously, what he was
it's-
doing, it's like a common tactic with like fuckboys who will like insult a female to like, you know, let their guard down or whatever, like to make them feel insecure.
Of course.
And
Yeah.
then it's a common tactic.
It's a stupid joke. It's a
It's
stupid joke.
it's stupid.
It's corny as joke. So,
Yeah, pretty much. But this whole bit is just as cringe or corny as that whole joke itself, if not worse,
Yeah.
because this is dragged on for like what 2 minutes.
yes. Yeah. It's
God.
yeah. Here, let me see if I speed it up a little bit more.
Don't mind.
Yeah.
You know, I'm sure it's a conversation starter. There you
Yeah,
go.
he that's how he started it all. But from there, he just basically just kept texting me like every day, like hey, like and like he would ask to hang out, but I would make up an excuse, like, oh no, sorry, I have to do something today. Sorry, I'm hanging out with my friend.
That's
And I
awesome.
basically I would hint at it like several times, not hint at it, but I would say like, if we're gonna go out, can Izzy and Walter, so can my friend and Walter come? And he was like, oh well, you can't leave your friend alone. And I was like, not really, because it was just I never wanted to be alone with him at all. I
Yeah,
did not want to be alone with him. And so the days go by and it's my last day in Miami, and I thought it was going to be my last day, but I had got stuck there because of a snowstorm back at home. So I thought it was my last day, and me and my friend had gone out to the club that was around her area. And when we went in there, we were doing our own thing, and Walter had showed up, and he came up to us. Like, we went to his table, he was talking to us, and he comes straight up to me and he says, well, Myron wants you. And I said, a child? Like, because I know I'm not I know I'm not a minor.
I mean, you're 19, and
I'm freshly out of being a minor.
yeah,
like,
I mean, you practically just finished high school at that point, right?
Yeah, I probably just finished my first year of college, but
that doesn't
so
matter.
was it weird for you for the study
That
clearly
doesn't. That doesn't.
that's
that
not
doesn't
how that
fucking
works.
matter. That doesn't fucking
That's
matter.
dumb.
And
That's-
I hate it when people try to do that shit too, where it's just like, look, I get that, yeah, somebody that young is going to be more inexperienced, but we're not, you're legally recognized as an adult at that point. Don't try to make it a thing like, 'cause it's the whole thing of trying to like make it like the other person is, some kind of, hemophile and stuff like that. And it's just like, no, don't fucking do that. Don't try to muddy the waters like that.
No, because regardless, you're a legal
Yeah.
adult. Like you can't use the whole
Yeah, it's just,
minor or
"Oh,
trying to be freshly
I'm just a
turned.
kid." Yeah, it's like, I'm just a child now.
Why did this guy get ratioed? What did he do here?
You're gonna see. You're gonna see.
Yeah,
It's-
you're gonna
it gets,
see.
It gets.
Well,
I'm
not gonna stick around too much. I just want to say hi. But like, what's the general
Hi, Sam.
TLDR up to this point?
Look, the thing is, he had this girl on, right? And this girl tells this story, this questionable story of, stuff that happened between her and Fit from the Fresh and Fit podcast. Kind of trying to like Me Too them a little bit, because obviously, Ethan Klein doesn't like them. They don't like him. But it's like, you have this girl on who's telling this story that's got some questionable stuff in it.
Yeah.
To try to push this false narrative about.
And he's just going
Fit.
with it, right?
And he's just going with it because, obviously because he doesn't like them.
I actually thought this was the stream that he mentioned Dedica and stuff. I thought this was what the ratio.
No, I think that was after. I think that was after that.
Okay, so he gets ratioed on a regular.
Yeah, he's starting to get more on a regular because of dumb shit that he's saying and doing.
At least
he's killing his channel.
At least he has money, right? At least he has
yeah.
money.
I mean, at this point, yeah, he's fine. So it doesn't matter. So I guess
it doesn't matter how idiotic
yeah.
or self-destructive he gets. Right?
Exactly, because he could kind of afford to do it at this point. I mean, he lost all his sponsorships, right? So it's just
he's still fine,
and he's fine.
That's insane. Yeah. That's fucking crazy.
I guess he just decided after, it's like, well, fuck it, I'll just kill
he doesn't have to worry about the optics as much anymore because he's already like plateaued and he has all that cash, so he can be like, I can show my true colors a little more, right?
No, exactly. He's like, he could be like, you know what? My channel's dying, so I'm just going to speed up the process. Fuck it.
I think honestly, he just wants to. I think he's trying to be as controversial as possible, so it'll speed up his like retirement.
You think it'll mean? Well, you think it's also to maintain relevancy?
Maybe. I mean,
more likely.
Controversy does bring attention, even if it's not the kind of attention that you want. It doesn't matter. It's still, like they say, there's some degree of truth to the whole, no publicity is bad publicity. But the thing is, there's a point though where
I think it works for him only because he's plateaued. Because if he was still small and he was trying to grow a brand, this would not be the right move.
Oh, for sure. I think that definitely factors into it. But it's one of those things of, it does keep him relevant, right? It keeps people talking.
Mm-hmm.
But it's also like, I think part of it is there's probably truth to what you were saying earlier too. It's like, if I'll just be mask off now and things like that, and just I'll let it all hang out. There's probably a little bit of all that.
Yeah, I can
with
see
him.
that.
You know what I mean? Where he's just like, no fucks left to give.
Yeah.
So
you know what's even funnier though? The byproduct of this, and I'm sure that Ethan doesn't really care if he is aware of it. He just doesn't care. Death Noodles, because he's like the ass sucker of Ethan. I'm curious to see if he's ever gonna cover this. Because this is like because this is like one of those things where he talks about Fresh and Fit all the time on his channel. Like he makes fun of him just like Ethan does. Yeah. So it's interesting, both subjects, that are on his channel all the time are all in one place, and you're telling me he's going to ignore it? That's shady.
Yeah, I mean, You know, it's like I can compare that situation to when Augie and them were friends with Ethan Ralph still, and they would just remember when Ethan Ralph's sex tape came out and all the controversies, like the 18-year-old and shit, were coming out, and then they just refused to talk about the sex tape or clown on Ralph in any way. It was like that topic was off limits for them for some reason, even though the entire internet was making fun of it.
Yeah.
So it's kind of like that to me, but it's funny enough, they even tried to provide a little bit of a defense. Like for example, Tommy C was like, well, you know, as long as she's 18, so I don't give a shit or whatever, right? So he didn't go ahead and moral crusade about it or anything. He was just like, it's illegal. He's legal and she's legal and it's okay. So I think if anything, Noodles might put up like as much of a defense as he can for him, if anything, if he says anything about it. But I don't think he'll bury him like everybody else.
The thing is, the only thing with stuff like this is I think there's only so many times you could punch that whole ticket of, you know, the whole, you know, no publicity is bad publicity before people are just like, okay, I'm done. I'm done. and the thing is, I don't think he's there yet. I don't think H3's there yet, but I think he's slowly moving towards that direction. I think he's kind of gradually moving towards that direction. Could be wrong. You know, I mean, he could win everybody back at some point doing something, but the days of him being like, an internet darling, I think that's long past. I don't think that's ever going to happen again.
All right, John, I'm gonna hop off for a bit. Am I
what you gonna play tonight? Well, what you gonna play?
Probably Majora's. I'm gonna try to get Gun 64 running this time.
All right, I'll probably play something else then.
You want to hop in too?
Yeah, I'll probably duel back on this channel. So
it'll be about an hour and a half.
All right, that's cool. Let's go. I mean, I'm gonna try to
get
through
shit
as much
on
as
Oracle.
possible.
Shit on Oracle.
Okay.
All right.
There you go. Sneak preview right there. All right.
Your man to be so persistently pursuing you.
Yeah, it was very. What I describe it as, like, when I on the podcast, I was sick to my stomach just being on the podcast itself. But like just being in his presence, like later in the night, I felt very sick because it was just weird. Like just like.
So I find it odd too that his buddy, these guys they're like kindergartens. Like he's sending his buddy. He'd be like, "Hey, you want to go on a double date?" Or, "Yo, my buddy really likes you." It's like, dude, this guy talks about alpha maleness. He's sending love notes through his buddy, which is cute, you know, if it's age appropriate.
I think they said that there's a rule that for a guy to date someone, it's half your age plus 7 or something, like 12, and I am pretty sure I'm way below that, even if that was a rule.
What's the rule? I haven't heard
It's half your age plus 7 is the one that I've heard many times, and I don't think 19 would be acceptable under that rule to a 30.
Wait, that's interesting. So wait, I'm 36.
Okay, God.
So I go times 2 plus 7.
No, divided by 2 plus 7.
It would be 25.
25. That seems young for me. 25.
I mean, this is not an actual rule.
This isn't like a law.
People say, as kind of just like a guideline. But yeah, I mean, if he's 35.
So wait, if you're 60, wait, I'm interested by this rule. So it's minus 2.
No, divided by 2.
Yeah, plus 7. 37 if you're 60. See, that seems fine to me. I mean, obviously a big gap. Okay.
But yeah, if it was an actual rule, he would have failed that one. But it's pretty rough. But he, I guess I said to Walter, like a child, like I'm young. And I said, what is it so attractive about me that he wants me this bad? That it's been like 3 days that he can't.
Because you're forever.
So many hats. Get your bag, Ethan Klein. I know that you need it.
And also, he talks about being this famous #1 men's podcast, but you're stuck on a 19-year-old.
#1 men's podcast. What does that even mean?
Like
#1 human trafficking podcast in the world.
None of this.
It's not. The competition isn't tight.
None of this matters.
Yeah,
what they're talking about.
But when I had asked him, like, what is it about me that he's so attracted to? He said, "You're his type." Again, I said a child, and he said no. He said, "No, you're just his type." And I said, "Can you elaborate?" But he wouldn't elaborate. So I said to him, I disagree on everything that he says. I'm pretty sure I look pretty young, and I don't know what it is like about whatever. So we get to the point of Walter just keeps saying that Myron wants me, and I was like, okay, then I'll get back to him later in the night. And I was trying to avoid him as much as possible. And then the night goes on, and I have like a drink or two with my friend, and I'm like ready to eat food with everybody. So we tell Walter,
you know what she just said there, right, Chosen? I had a drink or two with my friend.
Yep. See, told you.
Get food. And he's like, yeah, sure, like let's get in the car. So we get in the car, my friend is in the front seat, I'm in the back seat, Walter's in the front, and they're driving, and Myron just kept saying like, oh, do you want to go get something to eat? I'm like, yeah, sure, like let's go with my friend and Walter. And he was like, yeah, sure. I also tried getting Myron out to the club. So again, like I didn't want to be alone with him, and he refused to go to the club because he said clubs for losers, but it's great for girls. I don't know what he meant by that, but so Walter, my friend was like, oh yeah, that's great, like let's get food with each other. And Walter looked over and like signaled her like, no, like we're not doing that. So eventually, like we pull up in front of the podcast apartment, and Myron's coming out of the building, and I get out of the car, and Walter leaves with my friend and took her to like another club. So I'm with Myron by myself. So we get into his car and he drives us to like this place, this spot. I don't know why it was open at 5 a.m., but we sat down. We ate
because it's Miami, Florida, and shit is open late in Miami, Florida.
I mean, I've been to Florida but one time, but
Miami. Look, Miami is the place here where it's just that's where you go for. I mean, Orlando. You could do that in Orlando too, but especially in Miami. Miami has a huge nightlife scene.
Yeah, I've been to Orlando.
Yeah,
but
yeah. So it's not uncommon. That's not an uncommon thing in Miami for places to be open that late. So
I just don't know. I don't get why they're I don't get why they're insinuating this whole age difference thing like that even matters. Like if you're over the age of 18, like you're over the age of 18.
Well, I think it's pretty apparent that the narrative that's trying to be built here is him like being a pred, right?
I mean, yeah, you can still be a predator and you can still exhibit predatory behavior even if you're over the age of 18. The problem is that everything that she's talking about is nothing but consensual, consensual in nature between two consenting adults.
Well, exactly. That's what I mean. Everything is there's two adults. I mean, you could try to say like, "Oh, I'm just a kid." It's just like, no, but you're legally recognized as an adult, and everything that's happened so far that you're describing, nothing has been forced. Nothing, at least that I'm hearing, and I don't know about you, nothing that I'm hearing is being coerced. You know what I mean? She herself had drinks with her friend
well before she was offered a drink.
Yeah. So it's like, at no point in time am I hearing at any point from her that Myron was the one that offered her drinks or anything like that, or gave her any drinks.
And when it gets to the part where everything starts to go a little bit spicy, I want you to pay close attention to what she says, because what she says after that, it just kills everything, everything she was building up. It's so great.
Thank you, Rogue, for the 2. I appreciate it. This girl sounds really annoying to be around. Yeah. So far.
Well, I mean, she's 19. So I mean,
remember, she's just a kid, at least according to her.
She's just a
stupid kid. So
saw him when I got out the car to the minute that I left with him, I was debating him the whole time, and not even debating, just telling him how much I hate his views and like him himself.
So you weren't debating him. You were just saying you did. I'm sure what she was saying is like, hey, I don't like some of the things that you say, this, that, or the other, and this is why. You know what I mean? She makes it sound like she was like, like getting into some kind of heated, like, oh, and this, that, or the other. Oh, I wasn't debating him. I was just telling him I don't like the things he like. That's okay. I mean, I guess that can be a debate. You know what I mean?
I mean, it's a slight argument, but for it to be a debate, there has to be a back and forth.
Yeah, true back and forth. The thing is, like she's making it seem like I was ripping him. I was ripping him a new one.
Definitely wasn't. That's definitely not what happened.
I'm sure she was being nice about the way she was bringing it up. He's like, hey, look, I disagree with you doing this, that, or the other. And he was probably like, well, why? You know what I mean? It was probably a discussion that they were having. It was probably more just a disagreements that they were having, not necessarily some kind of heated debate. Which again, like I said,
when it gets heated, here's the thing, because I've watched them a lot more regularly because I like to see their moments live most of the time. Mm-hmm. Most of the time when they have these females on and it gets really heated, it tends to turn into a situation where Myron just tells them to get out. Like that's the most that will actually happen. Like they'll scream for like maybe a few minutes or whatever. Stuff may or may not be thrown because it's an emotional time for everybody, and then eventually they cuss each other the fuck out and then they just leave. One time, one person wound up shooting the freaking studio up, or it was attempted to be shot up, and they had to like run. Yeah, it was a bad. That was a bad scene. Yeah. She got heated. Like the girl that was on there got super heated, left. Then they started talking about how there was she had a gun or a weapon or something. Jeez. And so they had to like evacuate to like a corner in the studio. It's freaking insane.
Crazy. I mean, it shouldn't get to that point. I mean, again, you kind of know what you're getting into, at least if you quote unquote do your research, right?
Yeah, I mean, I'm sure most of these girls do, and they accept it because once again, it's for clout. Like they're promoting their OnlyFans or their Instagram or whatever social media. Like they get stuff out of it. It's not a give or take like a give and you don't get nothing out of it. You get exposure.
Exposure. Yeah. You get exposure on a platform that is presumably larger than yours. You know what I mean?
Right.
Unless you're a person that's already been established somewhere else, like obviously, DJ Academics is an established guy. There's nothing he can really, he's not going to get any more famous for being on Fresh and Fit. You know what I mean?
Exactly.
That helps them more than it does him. But
and when he was still alive, Kevin Samuels would make appearances and stuff too. Yeah. So I mean, like these are established guys that have their own established platforms, and they got nothing out of it. They just went on there to, have civil discussions or debates or whatever. And these women are more than, culpable in their actions and deciding whether or not they want to go on the podcast or not. They don't have to go on there. Like they don't force these females to go on there.
Exactly. That's what I mean. It's just like, that's why a lot of this is.
Fun fact, he told me that he's never been in a relationship. So I had asked him, so what gives you the right to sit there and have a podcast?
Wait. He's never been in a relationship?
That's what he claims. He said that, he's had a few girls here and there. I think he mentioned it on the episode that I was on too, but he said he's never been in a relationship before.
So you're telling me these toxic red pill this theory of men can cheat, women can't, has not worked out for him really at all, has it? Which is so unexpected.
Yeah.
By the way, I don't know if you can see my screen, but this is what you could have been like if you would have only accepted fit into your life.
Of course, because he's got to take a shot at Keem.
Oh, of course.
Not that I'm a fan of Keem either. I don't care about Keem at all, but it's just like
Well, Keem isn't. I don't think. I mean, they're pretty much like on the same level of like. I can't really stand both of them. Oh, Keem in my opinion is just more entertaining. Like he has that entertaining factor. So in that aspect, he's slightly above Ethan in terms of that.
He's not as insufferable as Ethan has become.
Well, it's also that as Keem has gotten older, like he stopped becoming less and less like problematic. Like he'll say something every once in a while or do something, but like back when, like a few years ago, like especially when he was doxing people, like dude, he was out of control.
Yeah. What I think one thing that could be said about Keem at least is that Keem has been, he's been at least at this point, what to expect from Keem. You know what I mean?
Exactly.
He's been pretty consistent with the way that he's been pretty much the entire time he's been on the internet. So, whereas Ethan was like, one of those guys that, people stood behind. I mean, look, I remember when he had his whole court case going on. I mean, the internet, at least, or I should say just the internet, but at least YouTube, rallied behind him. Even people that didn't necessarily agree with him or like his content and stuff. I mean, me, I've never been a fan of Ethan either, but I was just kind of like, good for you, Ethan. Right? Like, I think, fair use is important, and you wish.
When he fought for it, like I supported the FUPA.
Yeah.
Like I donated to it, and I remember when all that stuff was going on, I just saw how that case could impact all of us in such a huge way, and he fought for it. Like he did fight for us.
Yeah, exactly.
Like without that, a lot of things could be different on YouTube right now.
Oh, for sure. It could have set a really bad precedent, and luckily it didn't. And that's what I mean. It's just like he went from being, in that regard, right, one of YouTube's darlings, and then to just being what he is now, which is kind of an insufferable douche.
Well, I mean, that also goes into the like how his content used to appeal to certain people, and then he changed it up. He started going a little bit more like left leaning or more of a liberal politics type of way, and he said that's how he was always, but and he was also stating that his content, at least the content that he was making, was a lot more draining on him because it just took a long time to make, which I can understand. Like if you're not being able to produce content fast enough, you have expenses, and at least at that time, I don't think they had a child yet, but they were probably working on having a child or growing a family and stuff like that. You're gonna you have aspirations and stuff like that, so that's why they created the podcast to begin with. They just wanted to do something a little bit more relaxing.
I mean, look, if he's just full mask off now and this is who he always was, then okay, hey, that's again, that's his right. He can make whatever content he wants. I mean, that's what YouTube is about at the end of the day. So,
I mean, it's benefited him. This is
Yeah.
like I
It's-
mean, this isn't a situation where when you change your content and everybody just leaves you. Like he started growing faster.
yeah. So, I mean, either way, yeah, exactly. And he had already been established enough. So, like I said, it's even if his channel dies like a slow, painful death, you know, it's not going to be like he's not going to have other opportunities, you know. So,
Yeah.
A couple like these two here. Think you're really missing out on something special.
So frustrating.
Yeah, it was just.
So they got you alone with him.
Yeah, so basically my friend was alone with Fresh and I was alone with Fit. Perfect. It was a perfect night. And we get to like this restaurant and I basically ask him like, what are your political views? I'm asking about all of his views. Because I'm thinking like, if Walter's this nice off camera, maybe Myron's the same way. Nope, I was wrong. In fact, he's worse. But so whatever. The whole time I'm just like asking him his views. I'm debating him. He said something about like the thing too that his habit is that he spits out vocab vomit and he thinks that he sounds smart. But it's like I'm confused. Like speak like we're off camera. You can speak English now, not red pill beta. Like no. Yeah. And he just doesn't stop. So like I'm just like whatever. So that's the whole conversation throughout the dinner. And then we're driving back, and mind you, I had said like, oh, we're gonna go meet my Walter and my.
I like how she provides no examples whatsoever
of any sort of like accusations of what she's trying to like convey. She's talking about all the surroundings. Kind of reminds me of like Amber Heard. Yeah. In a way, like she's very. It's like all these unnecessary details about nothing.
I mean, she just gave her opinion. That's it. And it's just like, okay, you're saying he's spit out vocab vomit. It would be nice to get at least some kind of anecdotal example of what you're talking about, but nothing. She's just kind of like, just take my word for it. And it's just like, okay,
trust me, bro. Trust me.
Trust me. You know, he just says word. You know, it's just word vomit. That's it. All right. It'd be nice to hear what example, at least one anecdotal example. I don't know.
Friend now, right? And he said, yeah. I'm talking to him. I'm facing him in the driver's seat. I'm still going. I'm passionate and heated, telling him my views and stuff. And we end up back at the podcast studio. So I'm like, like I'm ready to go home. And we get back up into the podcast studio and we go inside. And he's like, oh, I'm just picking up something. I just had to grab something from the studio. And again, it's like 4 or 5 a.m. in Miami. And like no one's in the studio, but the lights are all on. They have everything set up. And I already knew the way of the apartment. So I'm sitting in the kitchen area of the podcast studio. And he comes over to me and he says, of course you would wear your shoes. Because I forgot to take off my shoes.
What?
And yeah. And he was like, of course you would wear your shoes. And then I had like this little vape that my friend had, and I think I hit it once, and he goes, "Oh, and of course you would do that in here too." And I was like, "Oh my, I'm so sorry." Like I started laughing because I thought he was joking, but he seemed very upset. So I was like, "Okay." So he said, "Oh, you can just go to the balcony with your shoes and everything." And I was like, "Okay." I'm walking out to the balcony, and there's like a door that I hadn't seen open before. Like basically, it's an apartment that they made into a studio. So that was the bedroom.
Protection.
Not another ad, Ethan. Why?
Dude, he be hitting us with the cliffhangers, man.
Yeah.
So I'm walking like towards the bedroom into the balcony, like towards the balcony, and he's standing in the door frame and he just grabs my face and kisses me.
Wow. There you go. He was reading the room, good at reading the signals.
Yeah. And
sounds like it was unconsensual.
He kisses me. I'm like, no thanks. Like, I'm like, no thanks. Mind you, this man is like 6'7".
Did he lead with tongue or no?
Oh God.
I don't even
he's big and tall and black. What a shock. See, look, this kind of irritates me too, because I mean, I'm 6'7", I'm black. This is one of those things that I'm most afraid of, because I can come off, when you don't know me, like I'm just a big guy.
Yeah.
So like by nature, like people are going to be slightly intimidated until like they open up and like, they realize I'm just a chill person. But how does that, like, I can understand like how this stuff right here can impact. Like, it's not just a, race thing, but in particular, like when you really look at like everything that goes on, like in our country, like people find themselves intimidated by certain things,
Yeah.
So when I hear what she's saying right there, that kind of set me off a little bit. I'm like, yeah, like, what do you mean by that? He's 6'7", he's black. He came on to me. Blah blah blah. Like, oh my God, that kind of stuff just irks me so badly.
Yeah,
live that moment.
But he had kissed me, and then I just was like, no thanks, like, whatever. And I was by myself with him, and I had like a bad experience from past relationships. So also he's very like aggressive online, so I didn't know what he was capable of if I denied it. So I just pushed him off, and I was like, oh, I'm just gonna go to the balcony. And he goes, you need mouthwash.
Yeah, what? Oh my God,
you need mouthwash.
I mean, okay.
That's hilarious.
Yeah.
It's like, you need some mouthwash.
Yeah, you need some mouthwash, girl. Ew.
Oh, your birth
stank.
stank.
Yeah, you stank. Yeah.
Dang,
Oh my
that's
God.
messed up.
Yeah, here we go.
Text over to Sam because
Yeah,
I
I
was
got the
texting my
text here.
friend. Yeah, I was texting my friend the whole time, and you see me say like he just told me to get mouthwash or something.
Here, let me pull up this text. Again, guys, we have receipts. This is fully vetted. Bro,
Bro, Myron just grabbed me to make out, and he goes, "Get Listerine. You taste like alcohol."
mine just
That's
grabs me
hilarious.
to make out, and he goes, "Get your
No,
Listerine.
he
You taste
obviously
like alcohol."
knows you came from
No,
the
he
club.
obviously knows you came from the club. He's disgusting. Wait till I get home. Is Walter driving you? Yes, I'm still at the club though. Ask Walter if he can pick me up from the studio, drive us both home. I'm about to walk. Answer now. She's all worried about
Pause
you.
it real
Bro,
quick.
Oh wait, yeah.
Isn't
Okay.
it interesting that he's reading all this? Like he's reading it like at
Yeah.
the speed of light, but you understand like his processing power is clearly more evolved than ours. Why didn't he question at any point in time like how this looks? Like this doesn't look like someone who has been assaulted or even remotely groped or anything like that. This looks like a setup.
Yeah, it does. It's just like, he knows you've been drinking. Oh, okay, yeah. I mean,
like that's like 4K.
Yeah, it's just like,
Like,
it
Please let me know. Are you
it does look like, okay, it looks
okay?
somewhat planned,
I'm good, bro.
I guess. But remember, she said she was trying to, she was trying to get an own on him, right?
Yeah, like
that was
it all goes back
master
to her
plan.
trying to like
Her master
get her
plan,
back. Yeah.
Yeah.
So like, oh God, he's so disgusting. That didn't stop you from, never mind. Let's just keep going.
Yeah.
Before you continue,
Oh, you want me to
it's
stop?
good. Yeah, yeah.
Want
you
me
can
to
continue.
stop? Well, why not? Why not continue? Why stop? Maybe because the rest doesn't look.
It doesn't look all that good.
Yeah.
The timeline for it because it's gonna be like a big. I'm leading up with the suspense, But
Go ahead, yeah.
I
Leading
come
up
back to the
to
balcony because I again like I went to the balcony and tried to stay as much as I could out there so he could just like be like, okay, like let me bring her home now, like get tired of me basically. So I come back in the room and then I go to the bathroom, like in the kitchen. He's like, that's not where the mouthwash is. So I was like, okay, where's the mouthwash?
Yo, that's not where the mouthwash is. It's in the bathroom. You get your ass back in there.
You know what's so funny about that? She was so
Listerine.
offended by that. She went to go search for the mouthwash. And then she went back.
So here's the thing, right? All right. So essentially, she's describing a situation where she was, I guess, she didn't want to be kissed by him, right?
Right.
She says she pushed him off. He tells her to go get mouthwash, and she's like, "Okay, where is it? What? Why? Why do you care about that? Why?
Like, if anything,
do you want to kiss him?
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Like, if anything, you don't want to do that because you don't want, like, if that's gonna deter him. Yeah,
exactly. You would be
you
like,
keep that stanky ass breath, and you'd be all right.
Exactly. If he doesn't like the fact that I smell like alcohol, perfect. Then he's not going to try to kiss me again.
If anything, I would do something to enhance it. Like I'd make, like I'd be eating some onions or something.
Like what? But why would you ask where the mouthwash is at? What?
Like seemed like she was rushing for it too. Like the next part is even more funny. Like this part set me off. Like I was like, ain't no way.
All right.
And he points to like the bedroom bathroom.
Are you a little scared at this moment?
I was very uncomfortable. I was very like I didn't
She's
know.
Not scared. She's uncomfortable, but she's okay with complying with him telling her to go get some mouthwash, though, right?
So Cap.
Yeah.
A lot of people. I didn't want to speak out about this either because again, like there's alcohol involved. Like a lot of women try to speak out about stuff like this, and you usually get the whole like you asked for it if you didn't do this or that, the third. But like when I was in that moment, like I didn't. It was like a fight or flight or like freeze. So I basically froze. Like I didn't know what to do, but I was just like keeping in touch with my friend. Like, hey, like what are you guys doing? Like can we just go home? But
yeah, I mean,
she was just trying to keep me there.
At this
again, look. If the deterrent is you taste like alcohol and you don't want him to kiss you again, then you're not going to be like, where's the mouthwash? You're going to be, okay, perfect. So he's not going to kiss me because I smell like alcohol. He doesn't like it. So I'm not going to listen to him.
You know, it would be even crazier if he went and ran like the speed, like running like one of those action stars, ran towards where the mouthwash is and ran after her with the mouthwash and tried to like force the mouthwash to. It's like, yeah, you're gonna take this mouthwash.
Fucking explosion going off in the background.
Like holy crap! But no, that's not what happened. Obviously, like she was like, yeah, I'm gonna go ahead and grab this mouthwash.
Yeah, I'm gonna comply. I'm gonna go.
Like, I froze.
What he says.
Oh God, I froze. Even though I'm walking. I'm walking towards that. I'm freezing towards that mouthwash. Yeah.
The perfect thing to deter him from me, but I'm just going to comply with what he said.
Oh man, it does sound a little scary that you're in this studio with this massive dude. He's just come on to you. He tried to kiss you. You rejected him, and now he's kind of ordering you around to
all right,
mouthwash.
pause
'Cause
it.
at that point, it's like,
Pause
well, why
it.
am I mouthwashing? Are you going to try to make out?
And she does
I
it, but
hate
she
it.
did
I
it.
hate this.
See,
This
is
dude is such a douchebag. Like,
Yeah.
this is no different than when Keemstar does this, because he's done
Yeah.
the same shit. Like when the Coleman Carson thing happened,
Mm-hmm.
and he wasn't questioning anything. Like, oh god, like this is why I don't like Keemstar. This is right here. This is right here is why I don't like Ethan.
See, that's
Like,
and this is the point where I would have been like, well, why if you smell like alcohol and he obviously doesn't like that, why did you listen to him? Why didn't you just say, no, I'm good,
like
knowing
this
that
right
that would
here.
probably deter him from kissing you again.
Exactly. Like, it's one thing to read those messages and everything and not question it. Like, I'll give you benefit of the doubt on that.
Yeah.
But you're restating all this shit that she's supposedly saying, and you're thinking that this shit makes sense. You're even asking, like, you're adding on to it. Like, you're saying, were you afraid in this moment? Like, saying that?
Yeah.
Oh my god, like,
And she didn't say that.
that's such a scumbag.
Well, she said she was uncomfortable, right? It's like he's trying to coach her through this interview. And here's the other thing that I don't like, right? So you would think, right, if it was a thing that she's okay, I'm he told me to get mouthwash, blah blah blah, whatever. I would think that at the very least, he tells her to go get mouthwash and she listens to him. What would be more believable, right, would be like, he said, go get mouthwash now, and made, like, I don't know, a menacing gesture towards me, or like yelled at me, or like was coming towards me and I was afraid. So I just listened to him. But none of that. She's just like, okay, where's the mouthwash?
I know, like, there's this movie on Netflix, right? And it's about this dude who, like, basically kidnaps a woman and basically creates a scenario where she develops Stockholm syndrome.
Yeah.
And like he's clearly like an essay, like he be essaying people like all the time in the movie and stuff. And she's just like sitting there taking it, like a situation like that, like clearly that's a monster.
Yeah.
Fresh and fit, that's not their MO, bro. They implore, like, yeah, they're douchebags, but at least they are douchebags that will at least consent to a woman's need to say no.
Well, and this is the thing again. Like, at no point in time is she talking about any kind of really aggressive behavior from him, right? Maybe a little bit of snark from him, but not anything like he's not being. At no point in time, at least that I've heard, she's expressing that he's like being hostile towards her.
I mean, he's roasting the shit out of her, telling her breast thing, but I mean, that's not a crime.
Yeah, it's just, exactly. But it's like, at no point, like, because it would make sense for her to be like, oh, I listened to what he said because, he started a hostile, or it seemed like he was making overtures towards me. He got really aggressive, something, right? To be like, okay, well, maybe what she's saying is true, right? So I don't know. This sounds ridiculous to me so far, though.
Me more?
Yeah, and I didn't really see the point in doing mouthwash of, like, I don't know. So I just go into this bathroom that he led me to. Like, he didn't lead me to, he just pointed to it. And also, I always forget this part whenever I tell this story, but like a little bit beforehand, I had opened the fridge before, like, he kissed me and stuff. I had opened the fridge and I saw, like, he had White Claws, like, because they have like alcohol in the fridge and stuff. And they had a White Claw in the fridge, and I was like, oh, White Claw. I was like, oh, can I have one, like, as a joke? And he was like, yeah, you can have one, but just don't tell me.
I love it. I love
Okay.
this. I love this. Okay. She's like, ooh, White Claws. It's in the fridge. Can I have one? He says yes. So yes, he's in the wrong. He's in the wrong on this moment because he knows that she's not of age to drink.
Yeah.
So he's
if this
like,
is
he's
true.
into,
If this is true.
If this is true, of course. Like, this part, yes. This is really the only time that I'm like, yeah, that's not good. Because you shouldn't encourage a minor to drink.
See, but it doesn't make sense, right? If you think about the kind of guy he is, if he's a guy, right, that doesn't drink and he's trying to kiss up on a girl, and he doesn't like the taste of alcohol or the fact that she smells like alcohol, then why would it be like, yeah, sure, just don't tell anybody? You see what I mean?
Yeah.
It's just like, I mean, it's possible. Maybe he could have had just a lapse in judgment himself, or said it joking around. But, it's possible. Because here's the thing. There could be truth. I'm sure there may be parts of her story where there's some degree of truth to it, right? but the way it's playing out, I'm sorry, but I just don't believe it's playing out, the way that she's presenting. I think there's a lot of so I'm pretty sure there's a lot of embellishing going on here.
It's definitely exaggerated
Yeah.
to make it seem like it's one thing when it really wasn't.
Yeah, like it's a lot worse.
So do you know for a fact he doesn't drink? Because I've never.
Well, that's what I've heard. You know what I mean?
Okay.
And this girl said at the beginning, and supposedly, I mean, that's what I had heard too. I had heard that about that neither one of them drink.
Okay.
So
yeah, it's kind of weird that they have alcohol. Like, keep this in mind. This is their studio. This is a part of like their studio. So why do they have alcohol?
Yeah. To one of the things that Ethan said earlier, I mean, it could be just to get people relaxed before they go on. But I mean, to a point that Ethan brought up earlier, that I will say, also could be the reason why is maybe to liquor up the girls that come on so that they
will say something stupid.
So that they'll say something stupid, right? I think that there's probably some truth to that too. It could be a little bit of it. It could be that, could be just to loosen their guests up, could be because they know they're gonna have women on and they want them to make mistakes so they can make them look dumb. That's all possible. That's definitely within the realm of possibility because of who you're dealing with here, right? With Fresh and Fit.
Right.
I can concede that could be true.
But once again, like I brought up earlier, okay, she had already been to the club. She had already been drinking.
Mm-hmm.
Like at this point, I think it's safe to say, like if you have alcohol on your breath, like to that degree where you're just like, oh, go
smell
like,
it on you, yeah, go get mouthwash.
Like I think it's safe to say she may already have already been drunk or like to
tipsy.
the point like tipsy
yeah.
to
Mm-hmm.
some varying degree.
Yeah,
and she's wanting more alcohol. Like it wasn't coerced onto her. She asked for it.
Yeah. So I don't know. Just some things. There's definitely some questionable stuff in this.
So I go. So fast forward. I'm in this bathroom. I'm standing in the bathroom, like trying to kill time again, like a bit on the balcony. When I come out, he's like laying on this bed.
So wait, you were in the bathroom for a long time, just trying to kill time?
Yeah. I was just like, because hopefully, like I was hoping like time would go by and he would get tired and it's like, oh, you have to go. Like.
So you were just in the bathroom for a long time. You probably thought you were shitting or something.
Yeah. I was dropping a grumpy, but
oh yeah.
And I come back out and I was wearing like a fresh. Sorry guys, excuse me, but I was wearing a Fresh and Fit hoodie, and because they have like a room full of merch, but I asked them where does it go, they say nowhere, so they all just collectively.
I'm not sure if I believe that. Oh, where does it go? Nowhere. It's just like, really, it's just like
cap.
Did he really say that, or you just saying that?
I think she's
because
just
you want to
saying
embellish the story, right? So
we're Fresh and Fit.
Is she only just wearing a hoodie, or is she just wearing the hoodie while still having all her other clothes on?
That's the thing too. This is where I would ask questions too. It's just like, wait a minute, did you like get out of your clothes and just wear the hoodie, or did you just put it on top of what you were wearing? Exactly. Like, so what's that all about? And why are you wearing? Why, even if, right? Let's say it's let's just assume that it's just her wearing it over whatever she's wearing right now, right? Why would you put it on to begin with? It's just like, if you don't, you don't like their podcast, like even to be cute or whatever, right? It's just like, why are you there? It's just like, there's so many questions.
So many questions with no answers at all.
Yeah. And he's not like, he's not asking any of them. He's just letting her, say all this stuff, and he's not challenging any of it.
Of course.
Whatever. So I'm like standing up next to this bed and I'm texting my friend, like because we're just keeping in touch with each other back and forth, like what's going on. And she wanted to go home. I wanted to go home. But the moral of the story, it's the guys were texting and the girls were texting. So like I kept telling Myron, like, I want to go home. Like, Izzy's waiting for me. Like, can we go? And Walter said to my friend at the club, he said, why are you texting her? Why are you texting your friend to go home? Like,
okay.
Introducing the world's.
Let's mute that.
Basically, like Myron was telling Walter, like, why is her friend telling her to go home? Like, it was just a whole thing.
What on earth, dude? You're telling him you want to leave. Like, what the fuck? Is it in some remote area where you kind of feel like stuck there without assistance? Like, where are you?
It was like, Miami's very city-like. So like, it wasn't like I was alone, but like, I don't know. I just didn't know my way around anywhere. So I was just like, I didn't know what I was doing.
Right,
so
you know what's funny? Okay. You know what's so funny about this whole thing where she's quote unquote waiting for him to take her home? He doesn't have. First of all, he doesn't have to.
No, he doesn't have to.
He doesn't have to do jack all. If you want to leave, then call an Uber.
Exactly. And like, you heard what Ethan asked her, right? Are you in a remote area right there? And she said, and she basically, no, she said, no, you know what I mean? It's just like, no, because Miami, look, where they're probably at in Miami. Look, Miami is a very, depending especially on which part of Miami that their studio is in, pretty crowded place. And the thing is, there's a lot of businesses and stuff like that around. I'm sure wherever they were at was nowhere where she couldn't leave at any point and just walk out to the street and catch an Uber.
Pretty much, like she could have, like she had her phone. At any point in time, she could have already had set up an Uber and just left.
Yeah, exactly.
Like it doesn't take that long to call an Uber.
And that's the other thing too. Especially if she felt that he was like if he was like stalling or whatever, and she's just like, okay, I'm gonna get out of here. She would have just dipped. She would have just bounced. She would have been like, oh well, if you're not gonna take me home and I want to go home, I'm out. Peace.
And here's another thing too. Like this was a quote unquote double date. So his friend, her friend is somewhere else within this apartment getting her doonies or her back blown out by Fit.
Yeah.
And she ain't going nowhere. She it's like they separated. Like obviously we already know like what likely went down.
Well, yeah. And the other thing too, to add to that, right? It's just like at no point, if it was a thing that you did not want to be alone with this guy at any point, because that's what she's making it seem like, right? That she had no real interest in going out with him, then there's no way in hell you would have separated from your friend. Like, you know what? Nah, I'm not gonna go with you. I'm here with my friend. I came to visit her. I'm gonna stay with her.
Yeah, same like her friend wanted to get her doonies drawn out, so that's why they separated. Clearly,
yeah.
Like, I mean, why else would that happen? Like, I'm sorry, like I don't believe her whatsoever.
Yeah, and again, if you feel like there's stuff that's being forced, like, oh no, just come with me, this, that, or the other, then you could be like, look, I'm not going to go with you, and if that's the only way that I can leave, is that I have to go with you. Well, guess what? I'm just going to call me an Uber. I'm gonna dip. Peace.
You know what would have made a lot more sense as to why she wouldn't have left at that point is if she was waiting for her friend to get her duties smashed in and then leave.
Yeah.
If anything, she could have just stayed in the area where it's like wide, it's not isolated. That place where they just sit down and talk.
Yep.
Could have just sat right there. Didn't have to move. Didn't have to do anything.
Exactly.
And I'm sure that Fresh would have been okay with that.
Yeah,
like I'm certain that he would have. Like he wouldn't have cared. Like he would just been like, all right, cool. There's plenty of fish in the sea. Blah blah blah.
Exactly.
I didn't have the keys to my friend's apartment, so I didn't feel like taking an Uber there and just waiting.
Right.
So
why not? If you wanted to get the hell out of there, I think that would have been the furthest thing from your mind. Like, who cares if you got to wait? I think it would be worth the wait, especially if you're as uncomfortable as you're claiming to be, right?
Exactly.
Yeah. The anywhere is better than being at that guy's apartment at that point.
From her perspective, from the way that she's embellished the story, you would think that.
Yeah,
like she's wearing merch, she's complaining,
I would think
getting mouthwash.
Shit, I would think that right outside the door of his apartment would be more comfortable of a place to be at that point.
Pretty much,
So,
but yeah, he's an evil monster. He's 6'7" and dark, like intimidating. He's aggressive.
It's ridiculous.
Asked her like, "Oh, can you have him drive to here to pick me up?" And he was refusing, and it was the whole thing. And then so at this point, like I'm standing next to his bed, and then I'm like trying to again give him cues, like I want to leave, I want to be here. And he's like, "Oh, you can sit on the bed." So I sit on the bed, and I'm sitting at the edge of the bed, like the memes, how they say how girls are. And I'm sitting at this edge of the bed. He's like, "Oh, no, you can come up a little bit more." So now I come up, and I leave a nice gap between the both of us, where it's like very obvious, like I don't like you, that I'm leaving a gap between us. And I'm on my phone. He's on his phone.
What?
Again, I was speaking about my views. Once again, he just jumped
What
on top of me.
the fuck is she talking about? Are you fucking serious? What? Bro,
this is so funny.
I'm giving him the cues that I want to leave. But I sit on his bed and I put a gap between us to show him that that I don't want to.
So you get closer to him, like no.
Yes, you know what a cue to want to fucking leave would be. You don't number one go into his room at all. You wait by the front door and put your shoes on and be like, hey, it's time. I want to go. You know what I mean? Not continuously listening to the guy telling you to do stuff. You know what I mean? Showing you got your purse ready, you got your shoes on, you're ready to walk outside the door.
Wait, didn't she add the part where she's like laying down with him at that point?
Yeah, it's just like
Like
or
she's
she was
laying
laying
down.
she was like laying down before, and then all of a sudden it's like he's telling her to come, sit on the bed. She comes, sits on the bed, and what? Like
He
why?
complied to his request. Like
Exactly. It's like, why aren't you grabbing your shit? And because to me, like that would be a cue, right? If you grab your purse, if you have your purse with you, right? Or if you're putting your shoes on and you're by the front door, I think that's kind of a cue showing that you want to leave, right? It's like, hey,
pretty
I
much.
want to go, not like listening to everything the guy is saying, like especially not sitting on his bed. Oh my god,
This is such a bad. This is such a bad look for not only Ethan but her as well.
Yeah,
it just looks so stupid.
Yeah, the fact that he even had this girl on to tell this is ridiculous.
Starts making out with me, and like trying to kiss me and stuff. And so I'm like, I have my hands like on him where it's like I don't want him like laying on me like intimately, so I'm just holding my hands up, and I'm like, no. Like this was about like max a minute long, and I was wearing like this shirt, and it's like a very loose shirt, whatever. And he basically lifts up the shirt and made a comment, and then I was like, I'm done, I'm over this. Like, and I said to him,
hold on, stop. So what's under your shirt that makes him make a comment? What was the comment?
Yeah.
Were you naked? Were your breasts showing when he lifted up your shirt?
Well, think about what else she's saying, right? She's putting her hand up because she doesn't want him to lay on top of her. So I assume that they're in a position, in a comfortable position, right?
Where they're like
where he's somewhat over
something.
her, where he's somewhat over her, right?
Yeah.
So wait a minute. I thought you put a well enough gap between you two to show him that you didn't want to be there. So if you started to close the gap, why didn't you get up and, get out the bed? Because again, none of this is believable. The fact that she sat down, all that stuff. Because I would think like if you want to leave, I'm showing him that I want to leave. Well, again, the best way to do that is to get up and grab your shit and walk towards the front door.
I want to see all the DM messages. I want to see the text messages so bad. Like, I know for a fact that she only showed like a crop.
Yeah, a lot of this doesn't fucking make sense.
It makes
underneath
zero
it and
sense.
commented.
Yeah, my chest, because I have piercings.
I'm sorry, you say what?
No, I said I have piercings, so he made a comment on it.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, Pierce.
And it was very creepy. It was very weird.
I don't want to.
And he made comments on it. Okay, what? Okay.
Okay, so she's pierced either on her belly button or her breast.
Yeah. This is a very disturbing story, actually.
I don't find anything. What? How? I don't find.
How is this a disturbing?
Because it sounds to me. I'm not hearing at any point, right? I don't know about you. Did I miss something chosen? Because at any point, I'm not hearing where she's like, no. You know what I mean? Or
she
saying
never
or not,
said no. She
you know
never said no. Like she never said no to anything.
There's no point where I'm hearing that she said out loud. Maybe she tried to say like, oh, I didn't want anything to happen between us, this, that, or the other, and I'm thinking, no, but did you vocalize any of that? And like, hey, don't lift my shirt up. I mean, any of that, right? I didn't hear her say any of that stuff. Like, or hey, don't do that, please stop. I mean,
because even for someone who's a little bit more touchy-feely, like the fact that you're not nudging him off, like you don't have to say anything, because there's this common misconception with consent. There's nonverbal consent and then there's verbal consent.
Yeah.
The whole way, if a woman, because any woman I've ever been with, they're not in the mood, like they're gonna say something or they're just gonna nudge.
Well, there's gonna be resistance. Exactly.
There's gonna be some level of resistance.
And the thing is, I'm not hearing any resistance, at least on her part, outside of saying, oh, well, I put my arm up before, to keep some distance between us. Okay, but earlier she said she pushed them off with the kiss stuff, right?
Yeah. So that was one part of resistance. But then you immediately respond by going and grabbing mouthwash.
Yeah.
So it kind of negates it in a way. Like it's like, are you serious?
And now you're in the guy's bed with him, right?
Cuddled up.
At no point are you saying, you lifted your shirt off and then you pushed them off or told them stop, don't do that or anything like that. Like show any other kind of resistance to his advances. You know what I mean?
Exactly.
So
like this is such a very strange scenario.
It's it's a weird story.
And he keeps saying that this is disturbing. Like I don't get the part of this. Like the only disturbing part was that her breath was bunk.
Yeah.
Like, that's the only.
Yeah.
Like what? Like shut the hell up.
And at no point again. And here's the other thing too that I think is key with all this. Right. At no point are we hearing that he's being hostile or aggressive, at least from her. Right.
Like, I mean, he's adding on to it. Like, he's adding on airs. Like, yeah, he's like, she's saying like he's a towering guy, 6'7". Yeah, he's saying he's adding on like the aggressive and all that other bull crap. I'm looking at it like I know what you're trying to do because this is a reason why, you know, when segregation ended, why black people still wasn't trying to date white women because of that. This is what we call a trap. This is a trap.
This is crazy, man.
Insane.
This is wild, man.
Bruh. Like, this
he may have assaulted you. I mean, at this point,
I mean, I don't want to say that, but like again, like
wait, you heard that?
It was my
he also
experience.
implications you a little. Very disturbing story, actually.
Yeah, it's interesting, but at that point,
I think
like,
he may have assaulted you. I mean, at this point,
I mean, I don't want to say that.
Oh
but,
my
like,
god!
You know why I didn't want to say that? Because it didn't fucking happen. That's
This
why
is
she's
slander.
not saying that. But you heard with you. There's like he assaulted you. No.
How? Where? This is actual slander. Like this is like actual slander. I cannot believe this is happening.
This is insane, man.
Again,
this is so
it
bad.
was my
he also
experience.
implications you a little bit too. The way they split you guys up, and I think you got implicationed. I think you got Dennis systemed.
What implication?
If you know what that is.
Yeah. No.
Oh, okay. Sorry.
Does he know something that we don't? Like this is so insane. Like,
I mean, was a police report filed? I mean, did she tell him that a police report was filed with Miami-Dade County?
if it is, it's nowhere in here. Like I haven't heard any other. Like if he is like withholding something, then he should be saying something about it because he's not adding any context. He's just agreeing with what she's saying, not challenging or questioning her story whatsoever, and then adds the part about him assaulting her. But that never happened. That clearly didn't happen based off of what she is saying.
Yeah, this is wild. I see no credibility in her story. Sorry. I see nothing credible here. And his vetting process is shitty. Ethan's
This
vetting
is
process
terrible.
is shitty. You know, unless he's got access to a police report that nobody knows about that she filed. This to me, it's typical shit that happens when people go out and sometimes things don't work out. You know, when
This is why allegations. This is right here is why allegations on the internet are trash.
Yeah.
Like it's like 90% of all allegations I've ever seen, it usually results in them never calling the cops or reporting it to the police. It's very interesting.
Yeah. Well, I mean, but you saw, right? You said, "Oh, I think he assaulted her." She's like, "Oh, I wouldn't say that." Well, yeah, of course you wouldn't say that.
Yeah,
That's not what happened.
Exactly. Like the fact that she even
Nothing
said
that you've
that.
described. Yeah. Nothing
Like
that
she
you've described
said
sounds
that.
like it either.
Like, and she said that to protect herself, obviously, because she's lying.
Yeah.
And she doesn't want to get sued.
Of course. Yeah.
So what's going through your mind as it's lunging on you?
Lunging on you.
It was very quick.
She
So I
didn't
was
say
just
that.
like, no, like right in my head, I was like, no.
She didn't say that.
She did
She
not.
didn't say. At what point did she say he was lunging on her?
Like
I
to
don't recall
lunge
that.
means that he's like pouncing on her, like
What?
they're at a great distance, but clearly they were close together and they were spooning, and then he got on top of her. That's not a lunge.
I like how Ethan is poisoning the well and adding and putting words in her mouth, right? Regarding the story.
Exactly. Like this is dumb. This is dumb.
This is really fucking dumb.
No, I don't want to have like sex with this person. Like I don't. So
Which is fine.
As soon as he like makes that comment, I push him off me and I say, I verbalized to him. I said, I don't want to have sex with you. Did you think I came here to have sex with you? And he got very mad. He just got mad. Like he did like a little toddler thing where he was huffing and puffing, and goes on his phone, and he just like went silent. And I was like, okay, like and I changed back into the outfit that I had in the bathroom, and I came out, I gave him the merch back.
Oh,
so she did change her clothes.
She changed her
you
clothes.
Heard that?
Oh my god! Oh my god! Oh my god! Oh my god!
So
oh my god!
Okay, that's pertinent because you have no plans to do anything with this guy, right?
But you changed into like what she described. Remember, she said that she's wearing a hoodie. So at that moment, she's taking a long ass time like she's taking a long time in the bathroom. That's clearly her taking her clothes off, probably freshening herself up, probably went to take a shower.
Yeah.
And then she whatever.
But hey, it was all part of her master plan, you know, to
make her look stupid.
To make Fit look stupid. Which look, maybe it's it's within the realm of possibility that that was the plan all along, right? on her part that she concocted that plan to just make him look stupid. I'll go all the way except, crossing that line of us actually having intercourse. It's possible. It's possible, right?
Oh yeah, I'm sure that happens like all the time with him. Like
Sure.
I'm sure he doesn't score all that often.
No, of
But
course.
here's the part that gets me though. If you wanted to make him look stupid, sure, whatever. You could have told the story about how I curved Fresh, but instead you're telling the story of how he assaulted me, or how he made me feel uncomfortable.
Yeah.
And insinuating, like it's not she's saying anything, but she's heavily insinuating that she was assaulted without saying that she was assaulted.
Exactly.
And it this is like a next level. This isn't making him look stupid. This is making him look like a rapist or a predator.
Yeah, and the problem with stuff like this is that doing this, right? This is the kind of shit that really hurts. This is what hurts people that actually have been in bad situations, right? Actual traumatic situations, violent encounters with men. You know what I mean? Doing stuff like this and then going, to H3 of all people, talking about it publicly. This is what hurts other people coming out. People always say, oh no, it's the people that ask the questions. It's like, no, the questions is how, scrutinizing and asking questions is how you get to the bottom of something. When you have dumb people like this that do dumb shit like this, because again, look, it is, like I said before, it's possible that this was all part of her little master plan to just make Fit look stupid, but it's just like, but why? How does this help anybody? Right?
This doesn't help her. This doesn't help him. This definitely doesn't
help
Ethan.
women. It doesn't help women.
It doesn't help.
At
It
large.
doesn't help the cause. Doesn't help the Me Too movement.
No.
It doesn't help anybody. Like this is actual trash. Like she's a terrible person for doing this. Like I'm sure at some point in time, if she isn't scrutinized now, she's gonna feel really bad trying to ruin a man's life. And I'm sure that like this is terrible. Ethan should have never, if anything, if he was gonna listen to her story, he should have listened to it privately and then made the decision to add her to the show if it seemed more like there was something going on.
But it's typical Ethan. Just because he doesn't like people, he's just like, he's okay with towing that line of, smearing them, right?
Right. And this is why I keep saying that Keem and Ethan are pretty much the same.
Yeah.
Because Keem has done the exact same thing.
Yeah.
Like this is not it. This is why I don't take sides on either one.
This is
because they're both just as bad. This is horrible.
Yeah,
this is actually like, I mean, I'm calm right now, but when I saw this, I was very, very upset.
Oh, no, no, of course.
Like, I mean, especially dealing with like the Johnny Depp case right now.
Exactly.
Seeing how this woman, like, who was head of the Me Too movement, lying her ass off for 5 years straight. Like, it's enough. Like, I've had enough of females like this. People like Jada, people like Amber, and people like this woman right here, this young lady.
Yeah.
This is the example. This is why men don't even date women anymore. This type of stuff right here is why.
Yeah, this is laughably bad, man. This is
horrible.
You bring me home now. And because my friend was also like drunk at the club with Walter. And she was texting me saying like, I'm going to walk home because he's not bringing me home. And it was just like a whole big
True
thing
gentlemen. So both of them are refusing to give you guys rides home.
They don't have to.
Yeah. So I had asked Myron, I said, can you drive me to my friend's apartment?
He doesn't have to.
No, I parked my car already.
Awesome.
So I was like, okay, I'm going to order my Uber now. And
Good.
he was like,
she could have done that the entire time.
Like in my entire, like, I felt like I was looking in the face of a 15-year-old, like a 15-year-old boy that like, oh, I didn't give him a kiss or whatever. Like, but at that point excuse me, I forgot the burp, but I ordered my own Uber and I'm walking out and I'm like, oh, my Uber's coming. Like, can you walk me downstairs? Because I didn't know how to work this building. So he walked into the
Can you walk me downstairs? On top of everything else, a guy, I thought you didn't feel comfortable with this guy. Like, why are you asking him to walk you downstairs?
Person who just assaulted me, can you take me downstairs, please?
Yeah, can you walk me downstairs. Oh my God, this is so fucking dumb.
This is hilarious.
This is so fucking dumb. Can you walk me downstairs?
The button and walks away, like with no comment. He just pushes the button and walks back into the studio. And I get into my Uber, and like at that point, I didn't.
Hold on.
And I'm walking out, and I'm like, oh, my Uber's coming. Like, he's like a 15-year-old boy that like, oh, I didn't give him a kiss or whatever. Like, but at that point, excuse me, I forgot the burp, but I I order my own Uber, and I'm walking out, and I'm like, oh, my Uber's coming. Like, can you walk me downstairs? Because I didn't know how to work this building. So he walks into the elevator, pushes the button.
Even if like you don't know because you're afraid you might get lost in the building, right? I mean, again, if you're so uncomfortable, anything would be better than being around this guy, right? But hey, walk me downstairs. Okay.
And then walks away, like with no comment. He just pushes the button and walks back into the studio.
Okay.
And
This is so
my
funny.
Uber.
It's like, okay, he walked you to the elevator, pushed the button, then walked away. So what? Okay.
Yeah, he showed you the way.
Yeah.
He showed
I mean,
you
you were
the
lucky.
way.
You were lucky. That
They even did
he went
that.
far, right? That even did that because he didn't even have to do that.
But I love how she says that he's immature. But what about her immaturity?
Yeah.
Throughout the whole the situation, like
Yeah,
trying to play him, like it's obvious. Like going off of what you said earlier, you wanted him to look stupid, so you played along. This is what I think. This is what I actually think happened. She went along with it. After she, quote unquote, went and got mouthwash, she went to the bathroom, changed out of her clothes, and she was probably given the hoodie to wear because like it's like a nightgown.
Yep.
And she got into bed, snuggled up to him and tried to spoon or whatever, and then waited for him to make the move, and then she rejected him.
Yeah. I mean, and again, if that was all part of her master plan, fine, whatever. I mean, what a way to go, right? And to me, it's kind of fucking stupid, right? Because why would you risk doing any of that, not knowing somebody, especially somebody you're not comfortable with?
It was because she didn't. It's because Fresh didn't exhibit any of the traits she's mentioned. Like he's not an intimidating person. Like look at him, he's a goober.
Yeah.
Like he's like an adorable teddy bear. Like he's not gonna do anything to any of these women. Like it's not to say that he wouldn't ever do it. It's just his demeanor, the way he carries himself. It's very hard to believe that he would ever do anything like that.
Yeah, this is wild, man.
And like at that point, I think that's when it kicked in. I started crying because I was like, I don't know what just happened, but I feel uncomfortable.
Wait,
and
why?
That's where you could read
Why
the
would you
messages with
cry?
my friend because I mentioned everything.
Wasn't this part of her master plan, right? To make a fool out of him. If anything, I think she would be happy, right? She'd be doing backflips
yeah.
like, ha ha ha, I got him. You know what I mean? I got him to think that we were gonna sleep together, and then I shut him down.
And then she pretended like I think what it was, she wanted to do something with him, and she like regretted not doing anything.
Yeah, it's just like what is there to cry about? I mean, I don't.
I don't blame you. That whole thing is really traumatic, and I'll tell you what.
How's it
I actually
what?
didn't know how
nothing
how
happened.
crazy-
He didn't. She told him to stop. He didn't do anything after that. He stopped.
This is why I think he's malicious.
He made no overtures towards her. He didn't try to force her to do anything. When she was like, "I don't want to do anything with you," he's like, he backed off.
This is why I think he's malicious. This is why a lot of people think he's malicious because despite all the stuff that doesn't make any sense, he's promoting a false allegation.
Yes.
Willingly, and he's not asking questions.
You're at no point are we hearing from her, and it's from her, right? She at no point does she say, I said no, I don't want to do anything with you, and then he forced himself on top of me, ripped my clothes off, did this, none of that. He was like, okay, leave.
So he complied. He's like, yeah,
complied.
no.
Like he like what? He obviously took no for an answer. So it's just like, so where's the assault exactly?
And clearly he was upset because he thought he was going to score. Like any man would be upset.
Yes,
I would be
course.
upset.
I mean,
would be upset.
Women would be upset if a guy did that to him too. Got him to that point, and then was like, I'm out. Anybody would be upset.
Let me tell you. Have you ever had? I'm pretty sure you've had this happen because you're married. Have you ever had a situation where you just didn't feel like you were in the mood, but your girl was in the mood, right?
Yeah.
Okay. And has she ever? All right. Has she ever said anything to this degree? I saw that you didn't want anything to do. Is there something wrong? Am I not attracted to you or anything like that?
Yeah.
Because pretty much every female does this. Like,
yes,
at some point, like they feel insecure and they feel like you don't love them because you're just not in the mood. Because it's a common misconception that men are always horny, men are always wanted,
Yep.
That's why men can never be assaulted because they always want it, right?
Yep.
So that's the running narrative. But the reality is, we don't always feel like we want to do anything.
Exactly. Yep.
And even still, so most of us will generally we want to make our girls happy, we want to make our wives happy. So we'll generally comply and consent to doing something.
Yeah.
If they're really insistent and they're not trying to play mind games and trying to get you to be the one to, make the first move, because that's usually what happens.
Yeah.
This
is crazy.
But
yeah.
this is what this feels like. This feels like I feel like I'm ugly. You're not giving me the attention I want. Like this is pure evil.
Look, I mean, unless she's upset because she was hoping he would be more that he would aggressively pursue her more or something. Which again, I don't know.
Yeah, like begging, to stay.
Yeah, like basically that he was going. You know what I mean? Like it's just she said no, and he was like, all right, fine, get out. Yeah, or just kind of like, okay, cool, fine. You know what I mean? Can you take me home? Nah, I'm good. You could call yourself an Uber though. You could go. Like at no point, like again, she stopped, right? She said stop, and he stopped.
Yeah.
So again, where is the assault? What happened?
I have no clue, bro. But I think you cracked the code.
Yeah.
I think you really did. Like this is it.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know where else is the story going to go, because I think we're pretty much
done
at
end.
this point.
I'm sorry you went through that.
Went through
I
what?
just want to bring it more.
I mean, wow, this is the thing that's really crazy is like if you're hanging out with somebody, you don't always have to give someone a ride home. But what's
wow,
that's the first bit of resistance.
Yeah, exactly.
Wow,
Ethan actually said something that makes fucking sense.
Perfect.
They intentionally split you guys up, and then he took you all the way out to the studio, and then
it's not.
I
like how he's trying to say like he took you all the way out to the studio, like it's in the fucking middle of nowhere. You know what I mean? Like it's in the fucking desert or something. Like she was far from civilization.
Like I've seen their studio. Their studio is surrounded by buildings.
Yeah,
it's a very nice studio.
Miami, or at least close to it.
Yeah, they're pretty close.
So it's like it's not like they're away from civilization.
Like they're literally in the middle of it, and of course, where everything runs late, like you mentioned before, Ubers are going to be around.
Yes,
and they're gonna be willing and waiting for your ass to go downstairs and get in that Uber and take your ass home.
Yeah, at that time of night, you're not gonna have a problem getting an Uber in Miami.
Like it was 5 o'clock, especially. It's like 5 o'clock in the morning when it's supposedly it's taking place.
Wow, this
she's
is
so stupid. You see, the thing is, at this point, yeah, she's stupid, but Ethan is stupider.
Yes.
Like, holy crap.
For having her on, because this is laughably bad.
He stranded you there. He's like, well, if you want to leave, you got to fucking pay for your own ride. I mean, what the fuck, dude?
So what? So what?
But anyway, he didn't give you a ride home, because who knows what else he would have tried on you. Okay, so
let me read this.
What?
Oh my god!
The dude, she said stop, and the dude stopped.
Immediately stopped.
Like, what do you mean? Like, if he had given a ride home, he would have tried something. I mean, look, it's obvious that if the girl is not into it, he's, you know what I mean? It's like
you know what this does? This establishes that he's actually a pretty decent person and actually consents to, and actually respects her enough to say, to react
to take no for an answer.
Exactly, like he respects her to that degree.
Because I mean, remember before when she was talking about like how he kissed her, and I mean, presumably without her consent, and she didn't want no more of that. But again, she didn't complain. She didn't say stop at that point in time to him to not do it again. He told her to go get Listerine. She complies and does it, right? So when they get to that point, right, where it's obvious that he wants to do something with her, right? She says no, and he's like, okay. You know what I mean?
So at that very point, because when she got kissed and she pushed away, right?
Yeah.
As there's some obvious steps missing.
He was done.
Like there's some obvious steps missing like between that first kiss and her getting into bed and her having all her clothes off.
Yeah.
Like all her clothes had to be off. If you're able to see piercings on her body,
yeah,
that means you didn't have clothes on.
Yes. Well, remember, she said she changed into that. So she obviously had taken those. That's what I mean. It's just like none of this. I mean, damn. I mean, shit. Girl, you were committed to the bit if you were willing to go that far. You know what I mean? Especially not knowing what could happen because look, you don't know the guy,
that bear
you don't know if
claw
something could go wrong, right?
Yeah, who knows? Maybe the drinks were spiked.
Like why would you know what I'm saying? Like why would you go that far just to get an own on a guy that you don't know, that you already don't
that you
claim don't like and don't like what he's about? You know what I'm saying? Why would you risk any of that? You know what I mean? Just to try to make a fool out of him.
Wearing his merch of all things too.
And again, could have been part of her master plan. Maybe, you know, it's true. But it's like it seems pretty fucking reckless to me.
He's discussing wait till I get home. Is Walter driving you home? Yes, I'm still at the club though. Ask Walter if he can pick me up from the studio, drive us both home. I'm about to walk out. Answer, bro. Please let me know if you're okay. I'm okay. Dude, he's disgusting. I'm making him drive me home right now. Are you going home? Yes, I'm going home soon. Okay, I'm gonna make him drive me home right now. Myron just tried to have sex with me. I said no, and he's mad because I said no.
Okay.
Lol, the fuck did he expect? Dude, when are you going home? He's a fucking weirdo. Is Walter bringing you home? Because I told Myron you're going home right now so he can Uber me home. I'm leaving soon, but if he knows Walter is taking you home, he's going to be weird. Why is he texting Walter? I think so, but wait, leaving with Walter, right? Leaving now, yes, leave now. What are you doing 1 minute away? I'm getting my Uber. 3 minutes away. Bro, Byron's a fucking piece of shit.
Okay.
Home, need me to come down and wait? Now, I'm getting my Uber. Blah, blah, blah. Yes, please, Kay. Bro, I want to cry. I'm coming.
Why?
We'll talk. I'm coming down the block.
None of that shit proves anything.
That was so irrelevant. It makes me want to. Oh my god.
None of that proves anything.
That didn't prove shit.
None of that. Oh my god. Okay, I'm pretty much done with this at this point.
Like at this point, I feel bad for Fresh and Fit.
I mean, look, and that's right, and especially of all people, right? It's just
exactly.
Like, they might be douche nozzles, but they don't deserve to have, you know, a false narrative painted about them, right? And thank you, Rogue, for the 2 getting vibes. Dumb girl wanted to play hard to get. Yeah, maybe, but you know, this whole thing is fucking stupid, and the fact that Ethan had her on with such a weak ass friggin' accusation is ridiculous. Yeah, I mean, because I would think, you know, if he did this whole vetting process with her beforehand, right? For sure, I would think that if she filed a police report, Ethan would be like, oh, here's the police report you filed. You know what I mean? Like none of that should happen again. And then you have a situation with the guy, right? Where she's not saying she was assaulted by him. Doesn't seem to feel that was the case. Okay. He tried to put those words in her mouth. She's like, oh, well, no, I don't think I was, and this, that, or the other. And then you hear her tell the story where hey, I don't want to do this with you. And there's where it stops. He doesn't go any further than that. You know what I mean? So again, where's the assault? It's just like, you told him to stop. He did. He complied with what you said.
And the assault must have been on her bad breath. That's all I gotta say.
I guess so. If anything, I guess the assault happened on Myron because she assaulted him with her stank breath. You know what I mean?
Pretty much. Like I have nothing else to say. Like this is actually the worst. Ethan's the worst. She's the worst.
Yeah, this was fucking stupid, and shame on Ethan for trying to do this shit. You know what I mean? Because he knows how people are going to run with this. He knows how people are going to run with this.
Exactly.
You know,
like here, this is how I see it. Right, like Fresh and Fit. Like this year, last year, they were really they're extremely disliked people.
Of course.
And what I've noticed is that when it comes to people who are disliked, people tend to act as scummy as the people that they're talking about, as a way of thinking that they're morally superior to that person. Yep. But this is what I gotta say: if you do something low down dirty, if not worse, than the person that you're criticizing, you're no better. If in fact, I think you're worse because you're self-aware of the bullcrap that you're doing, and you're just a manipulator. Yeah. This is why, you know, when I talk about the people I do on my channel, like I call out the behavior of the people who are criticizing other people. Mm-hmm. Like when you're recording people, when you're doxing or doing ops, like you're no better than the people you're talking about. You may be worse.
Yeah. And this is an instance. This was laughably bad. You know what I mean?
This is insane. This
a
is
ridiculous
might be
story.
sociopathic.
And this is, and again, you know what makes it again frustrating is the fact that you have people like this that have pretty much non-stories about a situation that happened, right? That it might be an uncomfortable situation, but it's not assault. It just isn't. And
this is just an uncomfortable experience for
exactly.
both for the both of them. It literally happens all the time.
Yes, and you have somebody like Ethan Klein entertaining this just because he has whatever feelings towards these guys. You know what I mean? Which again, people are going to run with. They're gonna twist it. They're gonna make it seem like, oh, he forced himself on her and this and that. There's, you know, to paint this false narrative about these guys. And again, there's plenty to criticize about those guys, and there's plenty to clown about those guys. I mean, I don't take them seriously at all. I think they're clowns, but you know what? They don't deserve this shit though. They don't deserve.
No, they definitely don't deserve this.
They don't deserve.
No one deserves to have false allegations made on on them. No one deserves that. Like I've seen people like Toby Turner getting accused of losing everything. There's plenty of like recent stories, but think about when the internet didn't exist. How many men were falsely accused of FSA or and like worse?
The worst, like I said, I think that Fresh and Fit deserve at times, and it's when they kind of set themselves up for it, is public humiliation, right?
Exactly.
With the dumb shit that they say, which they have been, and they've taken those licks, you know what I mean? And I'm sure they'll continue. And if they actually look, if any of them actually ever does something illegal, then of course, prosecute them to the fullest extent of the law. But this ain't it. This ain't it.
Actually have proof. Stop.
Yeah.
Like stop all this bull crap. Like he say she said stuff. Like stop all this bull crap about he looked intimidating. He's telling his height and skin color and all this other bull crap. These intangibles that don't really make much of a factor to it. Like you're just adding like additional word salad to make it seem like you're a victim when you're not.
Exactly. So I'm gonna go ahead and wrap it here. Chosen, thank you, bro, for joining me on this. I appreciate it. I am going to probably stream a little bit later with Sen. So for those of you in the chat, hope you guys will be back because I'll be probably doing a gaming stream at that point. But gonna take a break here. But Chosen, thank you, brother, for being on with me. Hope to see the rest of y'all in chat a little bit later. Rogue, thank you. You are the stream daddy or stream mommy, whatever it is that you prefer. Stream them, lead. Whatever it is that you prefer. And I'll catch you all later. Thank you very much.
Yeah, thanks for having me, bro.
Yeah, no problem.